Okay, this meeting of the Board of Supervisors, Penn Township, Wednesday, December the 17th, 2014, will now come to order. We will stand for a pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, meeting have been opened. I'd like to report there have been no other executive sessions since the last meeting. And at this time, we'll move forward. I see a large crowd here again this evening, and maybe to alleviate and let some of the people get out of here, I'm assuming one thing that maybe a lot of it's about this zoning issue, so I'd like to put that before the board at the present time for consideration. Is there any comments from either one of the supervisors as what they feel the supervisor board ought to move forward with taking a look at having a change, which we'd have to do by ordinance for this, or whatever they may have in mind, or the comments to be offered. See whether we move forward, table it, or where we go. This time, it's open for comments by the Board of Supervisors.
Well, given that we just received the transcript from the hearing yesterday or today, I would feel it would be appropriate to table the decision tonight.
Okay.
Allow us time to review the transcript and other material.
Okay. Any other comments?
I must agree with Supervisor McGuire, but I personally, with being a participant in the hearing and looking at the exhibits that were provided during, with the exception of one document that was not presented, was a document from the county planning board, was not presented as an exhibit during that proceeding. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to move on the topic and make a decision.
Okay. We hear one that would wish to table, one that would like to move forward. There was an awful lot of comment. Would you care to address the one issue that wasn't presented evidence from the township? From the county?
Yes, that was in our packet. Let me see if
That's wrong. Rich did present it as a township exhibit.
As an exhibit, but
Yes.
okay.
No discussion on it at the time.
Okay.
we had discussion on it.
Okay.
Let's see if
You have
There
one?
was from the Perry County Planning Commission, and I believe the reason that we didn't present it as an exhibit at that time is because we didn't have both pages in our packet to be able to have final conclusion on that letter. So I'd like to enter in just tonight, not as an exhibit because the hearing is over, but as material to help better understand where we're at. And it's just, it was from the Perry County Planning Commission, dated November 19th, 2014, to the Penn Township Board of Supervisors, and referencing to the zoning request for the Zayats partial 210,117-116. And we have it dated as November 28th, received in the township. It's available for anybody to look at it, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So if you'd like to take a look at it for a moment, if anyone would care to look at it, it is made available to the citizens to look at. But there is a recommendation by the county It refers to our recent adoption of the township comprehensive plan, identifies the future land use of the property as residential. The designation is displayed on the future land use plan map accompanying the text. It says that there was a recommendation here by the county that, that the change not be made. And I'm trying to find that.
First page, right under recommendation.
Oh, yes, there it is. It says recommend that the Penn Township Board of Supervisors refrain from passing an ordinance to rezone the subject property until such time as the Penn Township future land use map in the Township Comprehensive Plan identifies the area as commercial. So what it's saying is that they're recommending for it not to be changed until we do we are ready to do another comprehensive land development and map change at that time. In addition, this portion of Penn Township does not presently receive municipal sewer or water services to support and benefit all the allowed uses highlighted in the commercial zoning district. So it's available if anybody would like to look at it.
Okay, Brian, thanks for those comments. I looked at that same document later on. I also, from listening to a lot of the things that were presented at, I would like to offer comment that a lot of the times when they have a change request like this or et cetera, and I was a little bit surprised at the presentation in regard to this, there's usually a board set up with the plan showed. It shows the amount, how many, how it's going to affect. I've seen that with developments and other things prior to even on public input. Come to see the township to see how they feel about it for a zoning change, etc. In this case, there wasn't. We don't know whether we're getting 1, 2, or 100. The other issue, or how big they are, or how tall they are. We have nothing. And we also have no guarantee that if it's changed to commercial, that they don't change their mind and want to put something else in there besides storage units. We have no guarantee of that. There was no presentation to lead to the belief that this is exactly what we were going to get. Also took a look at the occupancy permits, which maybe would be changed if it was to commercial. Maybe they would enlarge it. Maybe the PennDOT would grant it. But at the present time, the permit for the road out there is only for 25 trips in and out a day. And then it becomes our responsibility to monitor that and police that. So that's the permit they have for the occupancy permit for that piece out there at the present time. There has to be some plan, there has to be a tremendous amount of work. If you take a look at the landscape and the location of where that occupancy permit or that permit was issued, there's a tremendous bank there, amount of dirt goes right up, tremendous amount of soil and earth has to be moved out of that to even put a road in there. So what is the plans for it all the way around, I'm not sure. But it's enough information there for me that I'm not in favor of considering taking that zoning change at the present time. That's my opinion. I needed to offer that.
Therefore, that being said, Brian, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I don't.
Okay. At this time here, I'd like to make the motion that we do not accept the zoning change that was requested by the Penn Township Zoning Board, and it stays residential.
Question on the motion. I don't think the request was made by the Penn Township Zoning Board.
Made by the applicant.
By the
By the
applicant.
applicant. Okay. I'd like to make the motion then that we do not accept the request by the applicant for the zoning change from residential to commercial. Recommendation is to keep it residential.
Hey, the motion's been made in regards to whether the supervisor would even give consideration, that's what brought us to the point. I will be glad to second that motion. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Okay, I thought maybe you're freed up. You're welcome to stay. Okay?
Merry Christmas. It's an early Christmas gift for all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our concerns.
Okay, zoning issue being taken, we put that to the forefront. We have, before we go into that, and get into the meeting, wait till Lloyd gets up.
Yeah, Robin's here.
Huh?
Robin's here.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna recognize her first.
Yeah, I'm gonna recognize her. Okay, this time we have Robin. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Got you on the agenda up front. You're on the floor.
I can't believe it's this time again already.
Yes, yes.
Time flies. I have put together the proposal for the 2015-2016 renewal insurance package. I think y'all have a copy there. As far as the coverages, we kept them pretty much the same. The property limits are across the board increased 3% for the inflation factor, with the exception of a small shed that between Helen and I, we had a conversation and we reduced that to 4,500 limit instead of a higher limit that it was insured at before. But other than that, it was a 3% increase across the board for the property limits. The inland marine schedule pretty much stayed the same, except for we added a traffic control signal coverage about a month or two ago. Other than that, the liability limits, the umbrella limits, everything pretty much stayed the same. If you go to page 4, the proposal is the premiums. And I did again this year get 3 different quotes for review. And again, the MRM Trust, the current one that you've been with for the past 8 years or so, is still the best pricing by far. As you can see, they're $5,000 less than the next closest one. I also compared at the bottom of that the prior year premiums, and then below that is the dividends that's been paid through the MRM Trust program for the past few years. And this past year you did very well. So hopefully we'll have another good year, for next year. But I do recommend staying with the MRM Trust because we've had good experience with them. Their pricing is good, claim service is good, and they are paying some nice dividends. So that's my recommendation, is just to continue with the same company and the coverage.
And that shed she's talking about was the electrical shed?
Yes,
That you and I talked about?
yeah,
That's the one we lowered.
yeah, they
Yes.
lowered that one out there. Yeah, there's nothing in there but just one little.
She took me out and showed me.
Okay. I thought that was a little pricey on that
Yeah,
shed.
that was a little much.
Okay, well, we appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay? What is the wish of the board? You heard the proposal? Making sure we're doing that. We got all the equipment.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah, we went over that before.
Okay.
Was the grader removed as part of the
Yes.
equipment?
Yeah.
Yes.
The old
Yes.
grader, yes. Okay.
And the new vehicles that are being purchased?
It will be put on when we receive.
Okay.
And we will be changing one thing shortly. The new Ford pickup truck, the old one is being traded in, and that will be changed on the 20, well, hopefully we'll have that for the 29th.
29th.
Okay.
So we'll notify you on that. The other one's sitting out there in the shed already on the trade, waiting for the new one to arrive.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, that's no problem.
Just. Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I I make the motion that we received a 2015-2016 proposal to the Penn Township Board of Supervisors from W.C. Moore, Inc. for the insurance,
For MRM?
MRM.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll second that motion. We continue with MRM. This young lady's done us good every year, getting us the best price and giving us the best coverage. Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Okay? Before we move into the rest of the, knowledge of the visitors, Brian asked if he could have a brief moment to speak up front before we get into the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, Chairman, I appreciate this. Several months ago, during one of our boards of supervisors meeting, I made the announcement due to health issues that I was stepping down as supervisor, that this would be my last meeting. I am now going to rescind that comment. I since then has consulted with my physician. We are taking another line of treatment and therapy that he feels that I should be able to do my therapy, do my treatments, and not affect my job. If it does, that time a decision would be made. Also consulted with my wife and my 3 children. Put it like my oldest son said, "Dad, you're a moron if you do it." So my resigning is pulling that off. I am fully able and capable of fulfilling my duties as the elected by the people township supervisor. So I will continue.
Okay, thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Recognition of visitors, Helen?
Bob Johnson?
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Chuck, you're on the agenda. You want to talk now or later? Okay. Linda Gauss?
Nothing at this time.
Bob Gauss?
Nothing at this time.
Joe, you're with them. Doris?
Nothing at this time.
Cece?
Not right now, thank you.
Mr. Fisher? Richard?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing at this time.
Mrs. Kaylata? Well, she left. Wayne Loper? Stanley?
Nothing.
Sean Squirrel? Okay. Jim Barrick? Charlie Harpster?
No.
Okay, or Debbie? Okay. R. Benner?
Nothing.
Susan Kissler's left. Mr. Fickle?
Not at this time.
Mr. Boyer?
Yes. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Frank Boyer. I own a property on One Spur Road in Penn Township. Last week, whenever I was visiting the property, I found a stake across the street from the property that the stake said driveway. Came up to the township and found that there was a driveway from the Dodge dealership that's going to come out right across, basically at my property line. What this driveway is going to do to my property is, as the people are exiting, the headlights will be in the second floor bedrooms. As the car levels out, the entire first floor will be illuminated. I feel as though this, well, I know that this is going to deplete the value of my property. I use the property as a rental. No, the property isn't in the best condition today. I'm in the process of resolving that. But in any case, right now, as far as I can see in this plan, there's nothing at all that says that the dealership will not be using the driveway. I looked at a plan, a land development plan that's to be reviewed this evening. And I'm just a regular person, so I really can't say 100% for sure if this is correct. But it appears to me when I look at it, that eventually, that the only 2 exits and entrances for that dealership will be one on Spur Road and one on 11 and 15. Once that driveway's in place, if the dealership chooses to use that as their exit or entrance, that's something that, once it's there, it's there. I know I'm kind of behind the 8 ball on this in a way, because I had no idea this was happening. I thought there would be a sunshine law on something like this, but apparently there isn't. I have talked to the fellow that owns the dealership to see if he wanted to purchase the property. To me, that's the best remedy for the driveway. I offered it to him for far less than what I'm paying taxes on. He chose not to make me a reasonable offer on the property. So I'm coming to you good people this evening to ask if there's anything that can be done to have him move the driveway further north, or not put the driveway in at all. When I bought the property, there was no driveway there. The really nice thing about the property is, even though it's that close to 11 and 15, it sits back where you're not, you don't have to deal with the traffic. But now with this proposed driveway, the traffic will be a problem, and it will deplete the property of my property. I don't know what else to say, but if the driveway permit is issued, I don't know if it can be revoked. I would be glad to go out there with any of the supervisors or whoever's in charge of the township and show them in the field in person exactly what my complaint is. And that's as far as the driveway. As far as the land development project that yous are going to be voting on this evening, if that goes through, there is only, as far as I could see on it, there is only one way in and out of there on that development, on 11 and 15. That would leave only the driveway on Spur Road as the second way in or out.
Be familiar with it, Brian. I went down, looked at it. I went down, verified, checked the site.
Henry, do you want me to comment on a couple of those things?
No, just a minute, Joe. Let the supervisors take a look at it, see where they're at, and then we'll ask for a couple of comments. It's coming out of this corner here. Okay.
And he has a copy, right?
What's that? Yes, okay. That's this over here.
Page 3, Brian.
Huh? This is over here.
Next page.
Next page.
Next page, yeah, Ron.
Oh,
There you are.
It's probably empty.
This guy's access. We're talking across the road over here. This building here, they're gonna demo.
This one,
Mm-hmm.
Peggy's.
Yeah, big,
oh,
yeah.
that would be this.
On that house there,
This is a 4 building.
what's that?
This is a 4 building.
No,
No,
you're on the wrong
no,
side.
no.
4 is over on the
This
other
is
side, not
further
shown.
up. They're clear up here.
Oh, I see.
That right there is the old Peggy's Antique Place right
Okay,
there.
I see.
Okay. Joe, do you have any comments now at this time? Let supervisor look at it, offer in regards to that. You're the ones going to plan, et cetera.
Sure,
Yes.
The current land development plan does not show the parking lot being connected from the residential driveway to the commercial use.
Mhm.
I have no problem putting a note on the plan saying that that driveway cannot and will not and shall not be used for that commercial use. Because that's not Jeff's intent. His
Mhm.
intentions are to put that driveway to keep the residential traffic in that house away from his commercial traffic. That's his intent. We'll gladly put a note there that that driveway will be only used for that residential.
For this house and this property over here, and that's the way I understood
Yeah,
it.
that's the intent, and we'll gladly put a note on the plan, making that a restriction. That will eliminate the traffic coming in and out for this gentleman. And Jeff wants one entrance. And that one entrance is going to be the current entrance coming into the sales. It's gonna be the only entrance there. We're actually going to block off everything out along Peggy's so that people cannot drive in and out through that big open gravel area.
And the access there is for the one home that's there.
That's correct.
That's
That's it.
correct. And
That's
that's the
it.
way I understood
That
it.
is correct.
Joe, is there not on the northern end, can you not go out through the northern end of the property and up across, back on Spur Road?
There is.
Up for, I mean, it's a
There
rough,
is, it's a
gravel
real
road.
rough gravel road.
as an emergency exit, you
That's
could.
correct. That is correct. Yeah.
And that'd
That
be-
was the old with House driveway or
Mhm.
That's
something
right,
that came down
yes.
through there. Yeah, that's still graded the same way, correct.
So it could
Correct.
technically be used
Yeah.
in an emergency.
Can I comment to his comments?
Yes.
It's so relevant, it is relevant, but if you were living in a house, even if it was only 2 cars that exited after dark and it lit up your whole house, how long would you want to live in that house? If you were paying rent to live there? That's where my whole complaint is. It doesn't matter if it's 500 cars or 1 car. The driveway was never there before, and quite frankly, I would never purchase a property that had a neighboring driveway lighting up the house every time people exited. There's gotta be other places in that whole big area. They're turning all that into one property. There's plenty of room that they should be able to put in a driveway if they need one for their tenants somewhere else along that property.
Pretty steep embankment along that whole entire.
I,
That's
I
right,
I
and that's-
understand that that would cause a hardship to the dealership, but the lights illuminating my house causes me a hardship.
With all due respect, I understand that, but again, how many driveways come out to a road and shine across the road?
How many
About
drive,
99% of them probably. Maybe
This-
all of them. Yeah, it's just the way it is. It's just,
not, it's really not the way it is. This will literally light up the entire house. I have a couple of pictures, they're on my phone, I didn't have a chance to transfer them over. I can show you the pictures of exactly how it is. Or as I said, I'd be glad at any time to bring anybody from the township down to show them my complaint. As the people are leaving this driveway, this isn't just a regular flat driveway, this is coming up out of a hole. So as those cars are coming up, the whole house is lit up, top to bottom, as the car comes up and levels out. And quite frankly, I don't think it's fair to me as a property owner that my property would be depleted or affected by another property owner's new project.
if you had sold only the triangle piece, that field down there to Mr. Four, he could slide that driveway down and come in more parallel to Spur Road, and probably those lights would not shine on your house.
The township won't allow that.
Well, they could, I don't know.
It's a non-conforming property.
No, if you sold that to Jeff, that, you have 2 different tracks in your deed.
Yes.
That track down there between Spur Road and the creek, if you sold that to Mr. Four, that would allow Mr. Four to bring his driveway down closer to 15. Not much, but enough, I believe, that he would come out flatter, and he would come out at a different angle, and that would not be pointing directly towards your house. And then that would, I think, solve a lot of your concern.
So what you're
And
saying
he's
is,
willing to purchase that from you.
so what you're saying is if that takes place, the driveway would be moved more to the south,
Correct.
north of that, or
You're right, south.
the
Be
south
south.
corner, yeah,
Yeah, it would be moved farther south, allowing that driveway to come out more
parallel.
parallel to Spur Road, not shining directly toward that house. And Mr. Ford is willing to do that. But again, you know, you guys have to come to a resolution of that triangle piece. That's between you guys. But that's something that could happen, that I believe may satisfy your
So you
concern.
have no guarantee that Mr. Ford is gonna purchase his property.
Oh, that's exactly right. I'm just trying to put that out.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
And
I'm
by
just-
saying that we put a condition on it, you're almost forcing the man in.
No, I'm not putting that condition.
No, I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
I'm saying the applicant here, that's here tonight, is saying that if we change the road and you sell it, by golly, the road out there doesn't matter at that point. But I know exactly what he's saying. That road could be relocated over there, of course, and it makes it look like, well, that's this problem will go away if you purchase my property.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's,
I mean,
yeah, I'm just trying to give him a resolution to it.
You're trying to give a
Yeah.
resolution, that's right. Well, we don't know whether Mr. Ford is willing to buy that or not.
Yeah, I just know that he told me he wants to purchase that, he approached him to purchase it, so, yeah, that's between them. I'm
Yeah,
just
they
saying
did,
that
they
that
need to
could
get
be-
that squared away.
Yeah.
If
you're
that
absolutely right.
option's out there, then there's another option, there is
Yeah.
another situation
Yeah.
there that can change it, and he don't care about the lights in.
That's right, that's why I brought it up. I
So,
just-
so because we got lights, you gotta buy my property, I got a little bit of a problem.
No, that's not all I'm saying.
I'm not saying you said that.
No, yeah, right.
Okay.
I said that a driveway, requirement of driveway permits is not to eliminate light shining across the road. There's just no requirement in ordinance that.
You're
that-
absolutely right.
So I'm just saying, maybe we can try to work something out.
And that needs to be resolved, and I know that those two met.
Yeah,
That much I do know, because I didn't let it lay, I went and took a look at it.
right.
I met with the party, the complainant that we got here, took a look at that, and I know that they met. So if there's ongoing negotiations, I don't know how we can, you know, if the plans, your plan's approved and everything's here, I can't hold this plan up on the premise
Well, that's
that he.
exactly right. That's
Yeah,
exactly right. You have to
there's
go
no
off
way we
what
can
the
do that.
rules are. I'm just,
That's
between
right.
him and I, telling him that maybe he
You
can.
can't do that, and you have to understand that, you just can't do that. He's met all the requirements,
That's exactly right.
and when you meet all the requirements, then you have no option but to approve the plan.
That's correct.
There's nothing there that I know of that you can deny the plan on what's there. Okay? You know anything, Max? Not really?
Unless Mr. Ford's willing to table
Huh?
the plan, unless he's willing to table the plan
Yeah.
to try to get some negotiations for purchase, but
No.
that's his choice.
Yeah, he doesn't wanna do that.
Okay.
Any other comment from the Board of Supervisors on that particular issue?
No, I don't think.
Okay. Hearing none?
Mr. Linker's next.
Okay, Mr. Lincoln. Okay.
Mr. Linker?
I'll save my comments, I see I'm on the secretary's report agenda here, so.
Oh, that just asking to get something else. Okay, Mr. Nace?
Very quickly, I forgot that we had this meeting tonight, I wish all of you Christmas last week. I did distribute the year-to-date report for the overall call volume last week at the hearing in the other room, and certainly if there are any questions on that, I'd be happy to entertain them. I did have one clarification. It came up last week that Mr. Peters wasn't aware of the contents of your request, Henry, and I just want to verify that is a request from the Board of Supervisors and not a personal
They
request.
want to take a look at it, Greg, that was something that I offered comment at a meeting on comments that we were willing to discuss between you and I. You wanted to talk to me. You didn't bring anything back. That was to the Board of Supervisors to discuss the whole thing, and I didn't get to it. So in order to keep that dialogue moving on between you and I, started a year before, I forwarded those questions written out there. If you want to make it part of the Board of Supervisors, fine. You have to advertise for meetings, sit down and talk about it if you're going to have 3 of them.
Certainly.
And I just think it's a simple request, answer those in writing, send them back to us, we can take a look at them.
Okay. Is there, I mean, so it is an official, it's a township request then? It's-
What, it was a request that, there was never a request from anything other than I offered comments a meeting about every item that I saw in there when I looked at that report, okay? And you wanted to discuss them, and I said I would. I was the only one that offered comments in regards to that.
Okay.
Okay.
The word
Everybody
personal
had-
was thrown around a couple times. I just wanted
Everybody
to make
else
sure.
had the same information to take a look, and I was the one that took a look at it and asked questions about it. Am I not correct?
That's
Okay,
correct.
and I done it openly at a meeting.
That's correct.
Okay, then I was at fault for being busy, not getting back, and we agreed that we were gonna sit down separately and talk about it, and talk about it, and talk about it. Then it went a couple months, and you reported that I didn't get around. And so, in order for me not to get around to the questions that I brought to the floor, I put it down in writing, said, could you please answer these so we can move it along? If you want to involve the 3 supervisors in that, there was nothing to hide by me in regards to that at all, Craig, other than the easy way is to keep things moving, make it easy, respond back to writing on those issues back here, and we'll take a look at it, and sit down and talk about it
Very
later.
good. I assure you that that 2-page request is going to be voluminous, but I'll gladly get the materials
You know what
together
I'm
for you.
saying, and that's how it all came about, did it not?
We discussed, yes, we discussed
Yeah,
it Thursday
you're right.
with our board, and the biggest point of concern was there was some personal information on employees and employee status that was included in that request. We'll probably provide most everything else. Some of it is kind of a no-brainer. Some of it was a little more expansive than what was in our report. But I didn't hear any of the similar requests made of other organizations or other entities here that are receiving funding. So I just wanted to make sure that it was an official request on behalf of the supervisors, and I'll gladly bring that forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeff Craig? Probably left.
Actually, no.
Oh, okay, you're hiding.
Actually, no, I'm not hiding. Actually, I just have a question. I got in trouble and I have community service time to do, 40 hours. I went to Duncan and Borough, and apparently they don't have the all paint or anything like that to do community service in the town of Duncan, and so I was directed to you all to ask if I could do community service over here.
Is that county probation that's requiring you though?
Yeah, Dauphin County probation. But,
So it wasn't transferred to
no.
Perry County,
No, it's any county that you reside.
Okay. Sure.
I'm welcome to that.
but you were sentenced under Dauphin County?
I will be.
Oh, you
so-
will be? Okay, so the cart's before the horse right now?
Yes, yes.
Address.
Oh, just on Cannon, Penn Township, whatever.
Just in my experience of working the Work Release Program at the Cumberland County Prison, and also part of the community, I was the director of the Community Service Program for the prison. We never accepted any community service program until after the individual was sentenced by the county judge or by a district judge. So at this time here, my recommendation is, until your sentence, I would not consider anything.
Okay.
Okay, and that's just my former practice when I was assistant work release manager at the Cumberland County Prison.
Okay. Understandable.
Okay, and I took a look at the record there, and I can concur with Brian, that's my thoughts also on it. The work program that you want out there, yes, I've done a few of them with some young fellows out here, but I need time, if you're gonna consider that at a later date or whatnot, I have to be with them 8 hours a day. Someone has to show the responsibility. At the present time, I'm not willing to attack that problem right now, and I agree, let the sentencing take place. That's my motion, okay?
You mean your second?
Second, Brian. All those in favor give their consent saying aye. We don't think
Just give me a
we're.
second, or,
You made a
oh, I
motion.
made the, okay, oh.
Yeah, you
I
I
motioned.
thought it was just a discussion.
All those in
Okay.
favor was
You motioned.
consent by saying aye. Okay?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next, Helen?
Lee.
Nope.
Megan Ether? What's the left? Jody?
Just,
Oh.
I was just a little confused on the exchange with Craig. There was a list of information requested of the EMS, but was that on behalf of the township, or was that on behalf of you personally? Because you said for him to respond and we would take a look at it, but I was confused with your response to him. I apologize.
One more time. I responded to his report, did I not? In detail on a lot of issues, did I not, Craig?
You made some comments, I
Yes,
believe.
right
July
here
meeting.
at the meeting, okay. And where I broke it down and gave the cost, what it cost this township for every call that goes out, and in great detail, okay. And you wanted to discuss that with me, okay. I was the one that brought it out, it was the only supervisor that brought it out. And I said, I'd be glad to discuss it with you, and you and I was gonna sit down and talk about it so that we could bring a further report back. If you want to include all the supervisors in it, that's fine, I don't care. But you're gonna have to advertise it and sit down and set meetings for it. And so the dialogue went between Greg and I, one more time, I was at fault at not getting back with you in a monthly time frame like I said it would do. Get swamped, get tied up, and said I'd do that. So I put it down, the questions off of that were really relevant that I wanted to discuss, and put them down in writing. And handed it to Greg. Greg, let's respond like this, and then we'll sit down and talk to it. If everybody wants involved with it, I don't have a bit of a problem with that.
And this
It was
is-
a dialogue going between, I don't think there was anything more than I offered comments on your yearly report. And I had some questions about it, nobody else did. I did. And we said that you and I would be glad to talk about it. It was some of the very same things that we talked about prior to last year, clear back in
reason I-
December.
The
Okay?
reason I asked my question was because I had heard you say before, when it came to the donation, that you didn't want to release that because you had some questions that you wanted answered.
And those
So-
questions there were discussed with him clear back in December. Did we not?
That's correct.
And that's why the
I'm-
donation was given. That's two different things.
Okay, that was my point of
Yeah,
clarification.
that was two different
that
things, Jody.
Separate, okay.
Those issues have been settled, those questions were answered to me clear back in December. These,
These are new ones from our,
yeah, that is correct, that's correct,
And it
yes.
doesn't, it's not tied to their donation release.
But nope,
Okay,
nope, was not.
okay.
Not at all.
I was just curious, because like I said, I've been on the receiving end of those requests, but to my knowledge, you're donating a lot more to other individuals and aren't making those requests. So, I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
Okay?
Mike Conroy.
Well, good evening, gentlemen. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I just wanted to say I came to the party late here, and I found out from the Pope that evidently you guys ruled to keep the piece of ground out there residential, and I want to thank you for that. Why everybody else just walked away, but thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Mike.
That's all I have. Unless I
Okay.
missed somebody. Did I miss anybody? Don't think so. You lost it?
Pardon?
The agenda?
Well, I'm looking for, I have the agenda here,
Okay.
which we're moving into the invoices and expenditures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And invoices and expenditures are before you. It's just that, I think I only got about half a packet here.
No, you got the other half in the yellow folder.
Oh, I love that when I come back, but I pick up the daytime. Okay,
She was finishing it up when you left.
what's that?
She was, here, Henry.
It wasn't finished, okay, when I was here. Okay, I got it right here. I saw this in the front, did not leave behind it.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, you got before you the invoices and expenditures. Anything to offer comment on them?
Yes.
Lily? Libby?
Other than
Excuse me.
the normal operating expenses, we're making the second installment for the workers' comp insurance. In addition, there is a payment that needs to be made to Capital Tax Bureau relating to tax year 2012. Apparently, there were some filing methods and filing frequencies that were changed during the second quarter of 2012. And a former employee who did the tax filing did not follow the new instructions correctly. So there is some money due for 2012. It is $822. They are not assessing any penalties, they just want the additional tax that wasn't paid over properly.
Okay. We got a request for research to take a look into that, and that was what you discovered, that the past employee did not fulfill that, would be unknown to us at that time. But you've ascertained that that is the amount that's owed back to the
Yes.
taxing body?
Yes.
Okay. I
So
wanted
was
to
the
make-
error was on the side of the bank? Or
No,
our error?
on our prior employee.
Okay,
Our employee
Okay.
that was served in the position of treasurer. And when you take a look at it, she just didn't get the new way, she didn't do it.
No, she did half that quarter
Right.
monthly, and the other half, she was supposed to do it all quarterly. That's what, it changed in mid.
And it just wasn't done
Okay.
at the end of the quarter. So,
Although it was unknown to us until they asked for research on it to
Yes.
see.
Yeah.
And when they done it, they uncovered that, and that's what the story is.
Yeah.
I have no other comments, nothing to share.
Okay? What is the wish of the board approving the invoice and expenditures? Is there any further questions on that particular issue? I'll make a motion that money be drawn for the orders before us for the invoice expenditures and the bills be paid.
I second.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye. Ayes
Aye.
have it, so ordered.
I vote aye with the exception of check number 27861 to Ratu Associates, which I abstain from voting on because I'm a part-time employee of the two.
Okay? Have the treasurer's report before you.
We received a nice payment from Cap Tax for the earned income tax this month, and we also received money for state police fines. That was $1,200.
Okay?
We also made a transfer from Orstown to Pliget.
Okay? What is the wish of the board for approval of the treasurer's report?
I move the treasurer's report be accepted subject to audit.
Okay, motion made, do I hear a second?
I second.
Second, all those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. CD in regard to that?
There is one Park and Rec CD that is maturing in the middle of January, and I've talked to Karen Tilkins, and their preference is to renew it as a municipal easy access CD at Mifflin Town Bank for 0.65%.
Okay.
That's for an 11-month term?
Yes.
Okay. I make a motion that we concur with the request of the Park and Rec Board in regard to renewing that CD at 0.65% at Mifflin Town Municipal Easy Access CD.
I second the motion.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Minutes. November the 19th on the conditional use, and November the 19th, 2014 minutes. What is the wish of the board for approval of those minutes?
I move the minutes be approved as presented.
Okay. I'll second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Just one question here, if I may, real quick. With the exhibit that was entered to the letter from the county that was submitted later, do we need to record that somewhere besides this meeting tonight?
Okay, are you talking about for the zoning map change hearing?
Yes.
That's not this one. This is the Devlin conditional use for the brewery.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I was thinking more December.
We had too many of them too close.
Yes, okay, sorry about that.
Okay, motion been made. Do I hear a second?
I believe Brian seconded.
Yes, he did.
Okay. Second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Henry seconded.
Ayes have it. Minutes are approved. Okay, highway report.
Right.
Both of them.
Well, we've been lucking out with the weather. We've had 2 small storms, a little bit of heavy wet snow, and not too bad out here. We haven't got into our skid pile very good that we got to go to our new supplier. And I appreciate the show of good weather for us. I'd like to say that at both times, immediately after the first opportunity, the trucks are always washed down, desalted, and to keep them in good shape so that we can, we have work going on in Highland down here. We got that washout down there. We're going to install a catch basin down there, trying to find some weather to do it. At the present time, put steel plate across the road down there so that we have any snow or anything like that at the present time. We need a little bit of 3 or 4 days of continuity in order to complete that down there. I will say that we have not been too active out here because the guys like to hunt. They saved their vacation time till this time of the end of the year. And they were in and out a little bit. They will be here until Tuesday of next week, and they won't be back to use their vacation time up until the first Monday in January. Barring any emergencies or snowstorms, they will come out and we will be out to man the roads and the snow plows. So we'll be here tomorrow, Friday, and Monday and Tuesday. Any calls or anything comes into the township or any emergency calls or whatnot or forward, we'll address them and we'll be out. So we got everybody on standby, nobody's running away. So that being said, we've got the heavy snow that comes down is sometimes a blessing for you out here. It brings a lot of tree limbs down along the road, a lot of pine branches that are in the road, the plows and the trucks and other cars and general traffic. And so each truck driver from here on out goes out with a notepad in his truck. When he comes back, where they're down and where they're out, they take a note and bring it back, we put it on the grease board. Right now, we're addressing those issues today, tomorrow, and continuing on to where we have these brush and these limbs to be taken down. Jesse Boyer several months ago mentioned about a bad tree, didn't know who it was, whether it was his or whatever. About 3 days after that, the top fell out of that on Creek Road. We went down and removed it. Today, we took the whole tree down. So that tree is now down, cleaned up, and off the road. And we're continuing on. We had some that are stretched clear across the road. We've got quite a few of them out there. We're working on them. We'll continue on to try to get that done so we don't have to look at a lot of brush removal come springtime. Like I announced, the only other thing I have here that the work crew will be out starting next week. And we will be here open to all emergencies and anything else that may come out. So we're a little bit slow, but we're looking to get started into a new year and get the road bids in for out here in Linton Hill and see if we can't get that road paved on next year's project. We do have, I believe, on the 29th, possibly to get the new truck.
That's what he said.
And hopefully if it gets here, why, and it's nice to see we have the money for that truck that we can pay for that. We don't need to finance it, we don't need to get it along. And then Next year, we get into next year's budget, we ordered the other one that we already got a bid on. And then we have a full complement of good sustainable vehicles out here, and we've replaced them. Take a look at our budget. For all those that are interested in, it seems that our heating units that we put in down at the other end, the cooling units are working fine, everybody's happy with them. Looking forward to getting new heating units and stuff in this building and the next building over here to get rid of this propane cost, this room and the next room. And then continuance of, on a yearly basis until this entire antiquated heating system we got is totally replaced. So that's part of long-range plans, that you take care of them one at a time until they're all gone. That's all I have to offer underneath the highway report at the present time. Penn Township Planning Commission.
ACD Realties first. You have the recommendations. You did get Max's, okay.
Yeah, I took care of them.
Okay. There's a couple of AORs and then the plan itself.
Let me review it with you real quick.
I was just getting ready to ask you, Joe, let's run over them, and then
Not a problem.
there's no,
Yeah, not a problem.
no question on them.
I've got some half sizes here if you want to look at it. I've got full sizes I can throw out, but
No, go ahead.
these half sizes here, the only changes I made was those two that Max had commented on, labeling a contour, and actually that was the only change. The other one was just asking me to build a high point in the road, and I said, yeah, it was.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The bulk of everything is really on sheet 3, which is the proposed improvement plan. The orange shaded areas are the buildings that are, the one here is proposed, the proposed building. That's the existing dwelling. These are some sheds and garages that are out there. You can see sort of the hatch building underneath there, which is currently the Angie's case. That's this hatch building underneath. That's going to be demoed. And Jeff would like to come in his existing entrance, which is over here. This is his existing entrance. It comes in. Currently, that's blocked off at this corner with parking. This is, squared off here, and that's just parking. He's going to extend a little access drive through here, to get over to what he's calling his service building. This service building is not going to be for UNI service. It's going to be for his new cars and used cars that he has that he's selling, that he can service them in there. All the service that we currently do, like for his employees, for his clients, are still going to be down here in Duncannon. Okay. So what he's going to do is put a 3-bay building here, and there was some parking spaces here that were removed from that access drive, and I just moved them down into this area here, just so that we had the same number of parking spaces as before. So very simple. The shaded area represents the parking area. The shading area represents the parking area. You can see that there's no shading combining or connecting the residential over to that. And if you do want me to add a note on there about the entrance there only being used for the residential house, I'll gladly do that. I think it's a good idea. I think that's up to you. Again, this whole frontage currently along Angie's is all pretty much open access. You can drive in and out of there almost the whole place. Jeff's going to barricade that. He's going to block it, grass it, so that there will not be any entrances and exits going through there, which will also be a good plus for that area. So everything, all the traffic control will be directed through the existing entrance. There's, I believe there's, what, 3 AORs?
Mm-hmm.
Those would be preliminary plat procedures. Due to the simplicity of what we're doing, we feel that we could skip and go right to final. Number 2 would be just plan scale, and then map scale. So very simple waivers.
Is this blocked area that you're talking about, is it, I don't see it here on the plan, is it shown someplace?
It's not shaded, so it's basically going to be grass.
Oh, this white area, that's,
Yeah, that's
okay.
that white area, that's gonna be grass.
Okay.
The shaded area represents the paving area. We're also going to berm that up. Max had a comment at the meeting about making sure that all the runoff, all the water, gets directed away from Route 11 and goes down to its natural course. Right now, you pretty much have this low spot coming down through right in here, and comes down and then just goes right into this creek here. And he wants to make sure that that water is still gets diverted into that natural spot. So we're gonna berm that up out through here. We'll probably raise that up probably about a foot of soil. And we're actually gonna take that berm the whole way around to here. And this will be a high point at the driveway entrance. So you'll come up in the entrance, there'll be a high spot there, and there'll be a berm the whole way around here so that all this water can't come this direction. It'll be diverted that way.
Into an existing creek.
Yeah, where all the water really goes now.
Where it goes now, it just goes out along the roadway right now.
And we're putting a 1% fall on that parking lot the whole way through there so that the water gets there. If we have a 0.5%, you know, there's gonna be ponding, there could be some freezing in the winter time and stuff like that, so we wanna try to maintain 1% across there.
And one more time, this driveway here shows no connection to this. This is strictly access for this to keep them out of there.
Most definitely.
That's okay.
He doesn't want the residential over there.
I understand.
Yeah.
In this area where the water's being diverted, is that currently wetlands?
There's probably, it's a stream, so there will probably be some wetlands down in that area in the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to get DEP approval?
No, because it's just water being shed over top of the grass lawn that's currently through there to get down into there. It's going there now.
Most of that's gravel just about down to the stream.
There's some grass here in front of that shed.
A
It's
little
actually
bit from the
grass.
shed, but
Yeah.
then it falls right into the
Yeah,
stream.
that's right,
Yeah.
that's right. Most of it is gravel.
Mhm.
And what is the purpose of this driveway back here?
That's just, see, this is a residential house.
Correct.
And he rents that. Right now, all that traffic from that residential comes right in here.
Correct.
He doesn't want them to have to come in his entrance, come the whole way through his commercial operation during the day, you know, and park in front
So
of
they're
their
gonna
house.
be coming into,
They're gonna come back to Township Road, and come right in and park here separately. There'll be grass between there and here completely.
and this is strictly gonna be used for that residence?
Only for that residence, yeah.
And how many vehicles does that residence have?
I don't know, I guess it could depend on who lives there, you know.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying,
Family
I
of
don't
four may
understand
have-
why there's such a fuss about that driveway if it's only 1 or 2 cars.
And that's all it would be. You know,
That's
unless it's a
occasional.
family of 4 teenagers or something, there might be some more, but again, we can't regulate that, but. This is what I was saying about if this was being directed more this way.
This way, correct.
You know, then we might be able to resolve that. Well, that's personally between those two, and if Jeff and him can come to a resolution, then we'll do something there, but.
Planning Commission.
Okay, thank you. Okay, these are notes from the planning commission meeting. And we took care of these as well. There was 6, 8 things here that the planning commission had, as part of their condition.
Contingent upon.
These contingent.
Conditions, yeah,
These have already been taken care of?
yeah, they're taken care of.
All 9 of them?
I don't have my seal in there yet, but that's something I'll take care of. And the signatures from the owner's not on there yet, so. Yeah.
That's according to your knowledge, everything seems to be in order?
Yeah, it seems to be, it seems to be addressed. All the conditions are noted.
And we took care of this contour.
Yep.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Take the word for it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I thought I got all of them. I changed my mask.
Okay, what is the wish of the board? Consideration of our final subdivision plan for ACD Realty.
You want to do the AORs first?
Well,
I'm asking.
that's what I'm coming to.
Okay.
Okay. The consideration of that plan will be subject to the approval of the 3 OARs as listed. What is the wish of the board to accept the 3 ORs submitted in there? Referring to section 304, 306, section 309-A-A, and 309-A.7. Those items have all been taken care of, and a request was made for them. What is the wish of the board accepting the AOR?
I move we accept the 3 AORs that you just delineated.
Okay, motion's been made.
I second.
Okay. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. So you have before you the contingencies, Joe?
Yes.
Before you, what is the wish of the board for accepting the contingencies on these and these final plans subject to all these conditions being met and all fees being paid? And do you agree to these conditions?
I do.
Okay, and they will be followed up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. I offer a motion that we accept those 9 and his agreeance by golly to agree to those subject to all fees, but we approve this plan.
I second the motion.
Okay, motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe.
I have a question
Yes.
about what you was just did here. That opens him up to eventually be able to turn the whole area into a parking lot and use the entire area, including the home that's used as a residential home, as all part of the business.
He may be able to come back later on and say he wants to demo that house or something like that, you know, if he would he not, Joe? And include that all into it, but he'd have to file another plan to do that.
Correct.
He'd have to do a whole other plan. At the present time, that residence stays the way it is. He's only demoing one building and erecting a small building practically on the same footprint. Then putting a little parking lot on it. That parking lot will not join that access to that home, if you take a look at those plans. They will be separate.
Because his land development plan right now is only for this.
That's-
It's not for that, so he
That's-
always has to come back
He has
to
come
make
back.
any modifications to anything in the future,
Right.
for future approval.
That's correct.
So, I would just really encourage you to be neighborly and try to work with each other
Oh, I have,
to work that differences out. Well,
I have.
you know, so, try again.
Are you saying I should just give him my property?
No, I'm just saying that, you know, try to be neighborly and work with each other.
Okay, next, Helen?
Stoner, the
Pardon?
Stoner plant, the Stoner modification plans.
What you have before you?
Yep. I thought that was late today.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I know, thanks. Thank you. What we have here before you this evening is a request for a modification to a prior recorded plan book 58, page 111. This modification only pertains to two things: the shoulder construction of Twin Oaks Drive, and then the trees, plantings of along Twin Oaks Drive. Everything else on that plan, we're not changing. We're only asking to change those two items. All the lots out there are sold. Just to give you an update, you know what's going on. All the lots out there are sold. The road is paved, 20-foot wide roadway. The cul-de-sac is also paved. Actually, the cul-de-sac is actually paved the whole way to the right-of-way line. And there are shoulders existing out beyond the 20-foot pavement of stone. Okay, that's currently what's there. Okay, so you got 20-foot wide road, shoulder base material, the same as what the road was. They went out 4 to 5 feet with that stone base beyond the road. Okay, and that stone base is level with the bottom of the macadam. Okay, so there's nothing on top of that stone as far as a shoulder final coat. Okay, so what we're asking this evening is for a modification to the prior plan of what we install over that stone base for the shoulders. And what we're proposing is there's two different criteria, and on the plan you can see two different types of shading. One is a cross-hatched shading. In that area, we're proposing to install 2A modified over that stone base up to the top of the macadam as the final shoulder. Another hatching area, and to back up, we're proposing that in these areas because there's really no grass yards and lawns that currently reside in those areas. It's more field conditions. Okay, so that's what we're trying not to impact the existing homes that have yards and nice lawns up to the road. We're trying to say, okay, well, these areas are sold, but yet they're field conditions. There's not a house there, there's not a lawn there that people don't. So we're trying to take those conditions and we're trying to apply that 2A modified on the final coat of the shoulders. The other case, we have homes with grass lawns that are currently mowing up to the road. What we would like to do in those situations is just put topsoil up to the top of the macadam and seed that. So that basically what we're doing is removing the lip of the macadam, the drop off, and we're extending the lawns that these currently people have up to the top of the macadam surface. Okay, so those are the two shoulder modifications that we're asking for. The trees, we're asking not to install the trees. the ordinance says that, not required, but it encouraged for subdivisions of 10 or more lots. We have 12 here, I believe. So we feel that we're on the lower scale of the subdivisions, not crazy amount of lots that we were asking to the waiver of not installing the trees that were shown on the prior plan. Okay.
The areas where you propose the 2A modified, how will that be stabilized?
Well, you mean it's, I guess they just have, I mean, it's, time will probably, as it goes on and goes on, it'll probably fill in with grass and mowing condition. It'll probably be grass eventually. You will, debris, and decay, and it'll eventually be covered with probably some sort of decayed material, and grass will probably grow over top of it. But
Okay, Joe, I do have some questions on it.
sure.
Okay? I'd like to revert clear back to the October 29th minutes. Okay? Where Mr. Stoner brought this in for the first time. And of course, he brought this up, and I referred to what was on the original plans with the paved shoulders and et cetera. Okay? I'd like to make it quite plain that the roadmaster at the time of the original plan says change the plan. That never happened.
What did it say?
It says, as Mr. Stoner stated, the roadmaster at the time of the original plan changed the plan to 20 foot.
Oh, okay.
I never saw anywhere where that plan was ever changed by any roadmaster, and I want it clear that that was not me.
Sure.
Okay? If there was conversation along something like that, that individual, I'm going to state one more time for the record, had no authority to change any plan. That's why we're here tonight asking for a change of plan. It has to be done in that nature.
Sure.
You're aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now we come back, and then the discussion is what is the township requirement for this out here? And if you take a look at it, Max was involved with that. We get into what the requirement is, what we do out here, the same thing, and put the tar and chip on the shoulders. If you come back to the November the 19th meeting, when we discussed that, Mr. Stoner stated that the PTS being the subject of tar and chip roads was discussed. He stated there are approximately 4 or 5 homes that do not want tar and chip. Okay? These homes currently not having water problems. I informed him that he must modify his plan and the amendment must be presented to the Penn Township Planning Commission. There was extreme discussion in here in regards to what was. Our engineer was involved, that's a requirement of the township for that to be tar and chip. And we come back and we followed up with a letter in regards to that, which was mailed out, received by Mr. Stoner, and we mailed that letter out properly. Okay? There's the letter that addresses what the township wanted to see. PennDOT Type 3 shoulder. Amendment be submitted to township for review. The shoulder should be required to be tar and chip, etc. We all discussed that. That was all discussed here at the meeting. We come to the Planning Commission. The first plan I saw that there was any change only arrived in this office on the 10th. And nothing about this. The question was asked by Chris at the meeting when he first saw this. He never saw this letter until the night of the Planning Commission. So who directed Joe Burgett to draw a plan up different than what was talked about and discussed? Where did you get the information to make that plan? Because it sure didn't come from the township.
Mr. Stoner.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see this until the Max
You're
emailed
correct.
it to me.
So I could not believe that Joe Burgett, having this letter, would draw up a plan such as this, contrary, without contacting the township or bringing it to the Planning Commission, and that's my question. So instead of taking this letter, and there's a slip, when it was received, when it went to, and Max finally forwarded it to you, we have the dates and the times that went over, you were directed to make a plan like this, contrary to what was agreed upon in this room.
That's correct.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Can I say that?
That is correct.
Yeah, and I didn't even know it needed to be signed and sealed and recorded or anything. I was just told it just to
Yeah,
bring a
you're
sketch.
correct. You didn't
And-
know it
and-
needed to be signed, sealed,
Right.
or
But
recorded.
we went to Planning Commission, they told us we needed to add that, and then we did. We gladly did that,
Okay.
so.
So with the plan that I saw come in on the 10th, I thought this is never gonna fly because there was none of it, there was never any of it there. Then I see these two are different, we still have those old plans and it gets changed. And I thought, how did they get this information? Who directed who to do this when that letter was sent out immediately after our meeting?
Yeah, I wasn't part of any of those other meetings either
Yeah,
as well, but,
so the question is, you were not directed or ever shown that this is what the township requested or was discussed then. You just directed to do this type of plan.
well, that's correct.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the planning commission really didn't have any problems with this plan. You know, they recommended it to come up to here, so,
And the planning commission may have recommended that for whatever reason, okay? And the county comments are back, okay, in regards to that. They can say recommended that. And I'll go along with this plan tonight if these two supervisors, when I pave a road next year, tell me that I don't need to put a good shoulder on it and tar and chip it like I did coming in here. The first thing I do when I pave a road is I get hammered. When are you gonna put the shoulder in? And we don't put topsoil in and we don't put anything else in. I've got hammered by golly by that bad. Take a look at what was put in this year out here.
Have we not received anything yet from the county?
yeah.
Yeah, it came in tonight.
That, you received that today.
You have a copy there, Brian?
Yeah.
Perry County.
And so that's the problem I have with the plan. Instead of the information
Oh,
being
I have that.
forwarded
I'm
to
sorry.
you,
Yes.
as per what took place at the meeting, it didn't happen.
No, they're basically saying they're asking waiver, they're asking waiver, they're asking waiver, yeah. We're not really
I know.
saying anything.
And how, if you grant this, then that means anybody can come in here, that, in my opinion, and come in here with a subdivision plan and put all this down, we're gonna pave it, and then after we do this, we'll put these fancy shoulders on, and then we come back, we don't wanna do this.
Well, I mean,
And that option, and you know that's a very realistic thing in today's world. And you changed it from what he required or what he had. He agreed to that plan. The original plan that was put out there for the 4-foot paved shoulders was what they wanted, we agreed to it. Now all of a sudden we don't want that. And so we lessened it to tar and chip to try to give something to build the road up there. Now we want to put topsoil and just stone in there. And when that stuff all erodes away and all grows up and is not there, you know who has to maintain it, don't you?
yeah,
You're
but-
saying grass out there. Who's that grass on? That's not a place but on a township right away.
Well, you guys aren't gonna mow that grass. I mean, the grass is gonna be mowed by the homeowner.
Well, you know, I can show you places out here where this very same thing has happened in developments. And heaven forbid, when we cut a piece of grass that's growed out over our blacktop 2 foot because they don't want us to roll it back with the grader, and we catch it with the snow plow, and there's that much blacktop underneath it, and they're out there raising cane that we destroyed their lawn. And I'll take you out here and show you a dozen of them, Joe. We deal with it all the time. It is a tough thing to deal with. The people want their lawn right straight on out to the edge of the road, and it's township right away. But when the water don't flow down it, and you go out and cut the gutter out to put it where the water's supposed to be, we're the ones, by golly, we're the one that catches the H for that.
Yeah, but you know, there's it's a 20-foot wide road. I mean, it is wider than all township
Not
roads.
saying that.
And there is a base there. The stone is
And
there.
what's the requirements to finish it?
And you're right. You're right. But again, there's not that many houses up there, and I would hate to. If I would live there, you know, I'd hate to have my grass pulled up and when I already have lawn there, you know, but that's my opinion. But it looks nice up there. I mean, to have another 5-foot area dug up to put tar and chip there.
Well, I'll take you down to my place and show you 7,000 foot of road frontage on my farm where I constantly, if I complained about the grass being tore up, I'd be here every month, every meeting. And I can't say a word because it's not mine, it's the township's. And I deal with it and I try to mow it. It's the township's, not mine.
Right.
Is that any different than Firehouse Road?
Pardon?
Is that any different than Firehouse Road, what they're proposing there? 'Cause I think we had this same discussion and it was okay then.
It was what, Jody?
It was okay then when.
What
we
was
were-
okay?
The way Firehouse Road was put in.
And was put in, and down around the mailboxes, we tarred and chipped, where the big oak trees out there, due to the weather and whatnot, we're gonna fix that up down around there and straighten that bend out. We didn't get it, that's been on the schedule, but that'll be done for you here come spring, as soon as we can get oil and stuff again. The shoulders were put in the whole way down through there. I personally tamped them shoulders from one end to the other myself. And those shoulders were put in, those shoulders, most places you don't have that much, so you fold down over the railroad bank or whatnot. And down at the far end, at the turnaround at the end, we tarred and chipped those drives and tarred and chipped those pull-offs of those parking lots down there. Same thing as we did coming in the lane here. The same thing as we did the whole bottom of, you brought that at Woodland and Firehouse, at that whole corner there was nothing but briars and whatnot. We cut that all out and all paved that back in there. We also paved it at the drain there, at Mrs. Simonetti's where it comes out, which nobody can keep that drain up. We tarred and chipped down in there, and that road was sealed up, and it's there today. So you can't say that that wasn't done down there. It sure was.
Now, the planning commission did have this letter at the time that they had their meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
But Joe didn't.
Pardon me?
Burgett didn't have that letter until the day, you never received it until the day of the planning commission.
Right, but a modification is a modification, doesn't have to meet that criteria. The reason is why we bring a plan in here.
Would you even consider the township's request if you would have had that letter?
I would have asked.
Ah, you
Yeah.
sure would have, so
Yeah,
you
and
never
that's what
saw
we're
it.
doing.
You never
Based on the
saw it.
modification, we're asking.
That's a backdoor approach that got me bothered.
No, seriously, that's a modification, is to bring a plan in here,
Okay.
whether it's A, B, C, D, or E, is to bring a modification in for your review.
And so this request that was discussed by this board here was ignored.
Well, I mean, it's not ignored because we have a plan here we're asking for. I mean, if
Yeah.
I would have brought that,
You didn't have it, Joe.
well, I understand, I didn't have
And
it,
you
most
admit it.
definitely.
And that's a problem I got.
I agree with you, I didn't have it. But
That's
again,
right.
a modification is a modification. The trees weren't all asked in that,
Okay.
even talked about, they're on there.
Okay.
You know, it's a change. We're asking for you to review the change. Whether it's,
After reviewing this letter, would you have done anything, honestly, would you have done anything differently?
I would have talked to you guys just to see, you know, why it was presented that way. But again, I still would have asked my client what he wanted to do as far as the modification, and did what he, you know, wants me to do, which is what I did.
I see a letter.
I mean, we even went into detail what the requirements were of the township, and there didn't seem to be no disagreements, by golly, to fix that road out there, nor to fix it up out there with the tar and chip or the seal. It just didn't seem no disagreements. And so we followed up with that letter for that reason, Joe.
Oh, I understand, yeah, and I
Okay.
wasn't part of all that, so
I know you
yeah,
weren't.
right.
It was no different out here in Gamber when after the bridge was done down here and I went it was state and the roads and the curves and the sides were broke down. And I was asked in here, what do we get out of the state from it? And they said they just rolled some stone or some topsoil back in that groove. Well, we went out and tarred and chipped it so we didn't have that and put a good base in it and compacted it in. So, you know. The reason you have this is to try to comply so that this road can be turned over to the township.
Yes, that is correct.
That is correct.
Yep, and that's what, yes,
Okay.
this is proposed as a township road.
This is proposed as a township road, and the township's gonna have to be the one that's gonna have to tolerate and put up with the problem when you come along with a snowplow and rip this stuff up. These lawns that you got out there, when you come out there and you catch them at the edge of that blacktop and you rip them up, you know who's gonna catch the H, don't you? Right here. I was at one this last week out here, that there wasn't 2 shovels full of grass, and clearly on township with blacktop, wanted a foot road out over it. But we went and answered the call. This is what they want. But then I'm not gonna answer a call to a problem to it. Anywhere else in the township where the same condition exists, won't do it.
Do you guys plow the shoulders?
What's that?
Do you plow the shoulders?
We plow over to the edge of the road and to right up to the swales or as close as you are. But I'm telling you, when this grass grows, it's not gonna stay there. It's gonna grow out over. And it will be out over.
So you'll still be cutting the grass anyway.
And
with the
you
plow.
catch it with the snowplow, that's
So if
correct.
you put the tar and chip in there, you're still gonna eventually be plowing up into the
The
grass.
tar and
anyway.
chip slopey slope, you can plow over the edges, the plow don't catch that tar and chip. Don't catch this out here that I just put in, because it's sloped away from the edge of the road. And the snowplow will stick out over there 6 inches, will not catch the tar and chip because it's swelled away. And that's the way that's designed if you want to admit it. You don't make it the same level as the road, I mean, if you take a look
Oh,
at
yeah,
it.
you slope it off.
Yeah, you slope it off, that's correct. At least we agree on one thing.
Well, you'd be sloping off the stone as well. The stone, that would be
That's
sloped
right, the
off.
stone sloped off away from the stone, so you should be able to take a straight edge or whatnot, go off that road and be out
Hang
over
out.
top of it, hang out over top and never touch it, am I not correct?
That's right.
That's right.
Even if you put 2A modified in there, it'd be the same thing.
It'd be the same thing, that is
Right.
correct.
Right.
That's correct. But 2A modified, you know, and one down here, why, we don't like that, the grass is growing up through it, and the grass grows up through the 2A modified. And the next thing you know, you have grass right out to the edge of the road. And that's when the problem comes, that the neighbors wanna plow, and we wanna plow the snow. It's just an argument. The only problem I got with was that everything we talked about here that seemed to be agreed upon was never transferred to you. You make a plan up, with Mr. Stunder's word, something altogether different. I have a problem with that. That information that you got in that letter should have been forwarded to you first, and knowing Joe Burgett, you'd have been in the township to see whether this thing could be done, talked about in the proper manner. And you know, Joe, that's the proper way. You would have done that.
But I still could have submitted a modification like this. I still could have. I mean, that's.
Against the recommendation of the township.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Sure.
I mean, yeah. But that's the freedom of doing that.
But your
you know,
modification that you've done now was not at the recommendation. You didn't even know there was one.
That's correct.
That's correct. That's right.
I did not see that letter until Max sent it to me.
Okay. Time to move on in that
Max,
issue.
did you have any input at the commission, at the planning commission, as in the
Yeah,
modification?
I provided them with a letter indicating what the township requirements were for a 5-foot shoulder, type 3 shoulder, and that trees are encouraged even for the 10 lots.
Did the planning commission have this letter?
Yes.
Right,
Did you take a look at what the
They
requirements
gave it
are in
to
the
me.
planning?
Yeah.
I did.
You have a copy of that by chance?
Of
Helen?
which, I'm sorry?
Of what was required, what was in our zoning ordinance to be required. Yeah.
It should be on the back of that letter.
Is it on the back of that?
Yeah, it should be
Oh,
attached to
okay.
that.
I'm sorry.
The type 3 shoulder and then our
Type 3
regs.
shoulder, there it is. You go out here and build a road, want to get paid for it with liquid fuels, I have to follow that. That's a fact, Joe. I can go out and maybe do whatever I want, but they're not gonna pay for it. Guy comes out and takes a look at it, says no. That's why I walked every road with Liquid Fuels Man before I put in a contract to make sure that he agrees that if I do what he wants and what he'll agree to, I get paid for it by Liquid Fuels. It has to meet those requirements.
Henry,
Yes, Chuck,
may I make a comment?
yes.
First, I'd like to answer Brian's question about what would hold the modified in place. They roll that in, compact it. You go out there now and there's 8 inches of modified on the shoulders the whole way around. And all they did was roll it in. And it's very, very stable. Number two, I would never take it on myself to do that road the way I did it. I was advised on how to do it and the type of shoulders, how to put the shoulders in, the swales, and everything with the water is working perfectly. And if it's done the way I would like to see it done, the modified would be sloped away from the blacktop, so the plow could go over and it wouldn't be tearing anything up on the blacktop, or on the swale or the shoulder. But I didn't take this on my own to do this. Another point, I didn't hear anything about tar and chip until 2 days before we ordered the wearing surface. And Norton already had 6 trucks on order to haul the blacktop. It was a little late to change that.
Disagree with you 100%, Mr. Stoney. Your contractor come in to see me to see what he needed to do, and I showed him on his plan exactly what I had. The whole width was supposed to be paved, and until that time, he did not know that. He came to this township and wanted to do it right, and he came here and asked me, and I showed him your plan, what you were required to do. So anything that you've done out there was advised by anybody that is different than your plan, that either had to be your contractor or somebody else, Chuck.
No, that was the supervisor that was roadmaster.
Well, how many times do we gotta go over that I don't have that authority, he don't, neither does he, and I don't know whether that conversation ever took place or not. But he don't have, you wanna change a plan now, and he never done anything. You can't show me where he changed the plan, and your statement says that he changed the plan.
Well, he said at that time he was gonna put it in writing. That's
Well-
all I had to go.
Well, even if he put it in writing, you had to go through this procedure. And, you can hassle this back and forth all you want, Chuck, about what's right and what's wrong. I'm leaving it up to the board here to make a decision what they want to do. I'm not gonna hassle around anymore.
But once again, history prevails. Here we have another situation, he said, she said, because of secret meetings or private meetings that take place outside of this room. And other supervisors aren't informed because the roadmaster at that time didn't see fit to include us in that conversation. So again, we have a history of washing each other's backs, and hopefully everything turns out well at the end. So that's why it's very important that we do hear from here on out, that we do the right thing, no more backdoor conversations, no more this, no more that. Bring it before the supervisors, bring it before the right committees, the right planning boards, and let's do everything right. Because in that way, we send a signal to future developers and that Penn Township you just can't come in here and roll over on us. That's what we gotta do,
And that's what exactly we've done with his original plan.
Correct, because, again, it's he said, she said, and they said, and we don't have anything documented, and it never came before the supervisors unless we start researching and going back. But that's, we've been here forever.
Feels like it.
Bring this up, his contractor came and asked me.
After every time.
his contractor came and asked me what he needed to put the top on out there. I said, here's your drawing, this is what you go by. You agreed to that, this is the plan. If you wanna change it, then you gotta make an amendment to it. And that entered into the discussion with those minutes and whatnot, where we were headed for. I thought it was resolved, there was discussion with Max. The requirements here for that type of road with PennDOT are exactly right there, they're on the back. And that's where I thought we were headed with that letter attached to it.
So my question, I guess my question for all of us here that's participating in this is that with whether or not you would have considered the recommendations from the board or not, and when developing this, okay? I'm not gonna expect, ask you to speculate or say, well, it would have made any difference, would you have changed anything? But with the engineer here and everything, is this a sustainable, is this a solid plan on what they're proposing?
I'm not sure what you mean by a solid.
Well, okay, is this acceptable?
It does not meet the township requirements from the ordinance. The question you have is, are you willing to waive those requirements on this development and set a precedent for, I guess, the rest of the developments?
Correct, so this is a modification of the original.
Correct.
So,
And if the modification to the type 3 shoulder would meet the township requirements. So that would maintain the integrity of your ordinance for future people that come in.
can you do that? Can you modify this with what was required?
Well, the
Or to the original? You're asking to modify the original, but according to the letter here that we sent out, that was there, Brian has it,
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody's clear. The letter that was sent to Mr. Stoner on November 3rd that he signed for stated the shoulder would be required to be tar and chipped with CRS 2PM or RS-2PM using number 8 aggregate at 1% wash per spec. There is to be no drop-off from the cartway. Now, that's what was required, and that's what you saw in the letter that you signed for, Mr. Stoner.
Okay, you say there'd be no drop-off.
No drop-off from the cartway to the shoulder, correct?
Oh, yeah, but, in the shoulder itself, let's say we go tar and chip, that's no big deal. We could do that. But we'd have to slope it away
That's correct.
from the blacktop, the wearing surface, so the snow plows won't push the tar and chip away.
Correct.
correct.
Which is
So
the
if
same
we-
as what you're proposing
if
to do
we-
with the stone.
If we would go tar and chip on the shoulders, would that be satisfactory?
That's what I
that's what
thought
he's
we had
asking.
agreed upon a month ago, Chuck.
Okay, okay.
And that would be for all of the shoulders, including those that are currently in lawn.
They're not gonna be happy about that, but
If the township wants to get liquid fuels money to maintain those roads, they have to be constructed that way, with the shoulders, tarred and chipped.
I was trying to keep them happy.
I understand.
Well, but the thing about it is that, the more and more we see in township, we see federal and state regulations where we're required to do things where we don't even have a say anymore.
Don't have a say.
So this is PennDOT coming back to us, this is the state coming back saying, this is the requirement. I just saw the code here somewhere, PennDOT code, looking at so much stuff. But anyway, it's just, these are requirements, so I would ask that, that you comply with what we're asking, and let's just get this done, get it off the table, and go forward.
We've already relaxed from the original plan, Joe. We dropped those requirements back to what could be allowed by the township. The original plan said it was supposed to have the base, the binder, and the shoulder the whole way clear on that. That's what was in the original plan. That's what his contractor asked me, is this, what do I have to do? And the contractor came in here and brought it up to me. All I did was show him the plan. And the message went back, and we end up here where we're at today. So you can relax from what was approved or what we agreed upon doing in the original plan to this and meet township requirements by doing this.
The,
Show me in the township where it says that, you know, I mean, if you want to, that would meet the requirements, would it not, Max?
I'm sorry,
That, if what we had talked about before would meet the requirements.
that's what the requirement is.
That is what the requirement is.
We'd
Now-
have to run a base out. We'd have to run a 4-inch base out under the tar and chip.
It's stone. A type 3 shoulder is stone with an oil and chip on top. That's a type 3 shoulder.
So
Chuck,
then
really,
we'd have to-
there is so little to do out there. So little to do that,
You're
to put
proposing-
stone in. I mean,
You're proposing to put the stone in now,
yeah.
you just need to have it graded and put the oil and chip on top of it.
I mean,
That's the difference
yeah.
between the type 3 shoulder and what you're proposing to do, right? Pretty much.
I was trying to avoid having to mill out the existing shoulder.
And I don't see anywhere out there where you would have to do that, Chuck.
No, you don't have to.
I don't see any place out there that you would have to do that.
Okay, so we could tar and chip that.
You could meet those 2 coats with everything that you got underneath it.
Yeah.
If you were going to sub-base that out there or pave it the way you were, you would have to go out and remove some of the stone in order to get your binder and stuff underneath it and your finished surface and the original plan. You brought it up to the point that you got an easy fix here now.
So tell me,
You wouldn't have to mill out what you're there.
okay. So
I want to see where you would. It'd all be built up with tar and chip coming around there and the drop-offs and whatnot. Would take that buffer, take that breakaway that we're taking a look at. I mean, we do it out here. We have places out here where we break it off with ourselves with number 8s and oil and chip to make it slope away.
You have to add a little stone in to make sure it's
That's correct.
whatever it needs to be added in to bring it
Yeah,
up.
whatever needs to be added to the base.
So if we go tar and chip, we'd be all right then?
that's the requirement. So,
Yes.
On
Yeah.
top of the stone base.
yeah.
On top of the stone base.
Now let me ask you something, on the turnaround cul-de-sac, you can see it's paved the whole way to the right-of-way line.
Yeah, I see that.
That,
So anything that we do, technically, we're on private property of,
well,
outside the public right-of-way.
I mean, technically, that's supposed to be an 80-foot
I know, but,
paved area, I understand.
yeah, I know,
Wait, bear with me, it's supposed to be 80-foot, they paved it the whole way.
that's right.
So basically, you have a paved type 1 shoulder out there,
That's what I
That's
have.
a
correct.
fully paved shoulder.
That's what I have.
So
if
you
we
can
just-
take the oil and chip, the type 3 shoulder up to the
To that, yeah.
cul-de-sac, just the way
Just
you
like
show.
I, yeah, that's right, just like I had to show.
Correct.
But we should probably just throw some soil
And
or
that-
something around the
And
outside,
that's a
just
common
to
sense issue.
eliminate
Yeah,
that roll off. We can just go off maybe a foot and a half and just put topsoil.
Part of what you done, you met the full requirements.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right, the cul-de-sac, you met the full requirements, so you're fine.
So if we just eliminate the roll off with topsoil and stuff, we're okay around that?
Around that, yes.
Okay, good, okay.
Back it
But
up with some soil.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
And you would be okay with that.
okay.
That's a common sense issue there.
Okay, so we sound like we got the road thing all figured out.
Yeah, you
What
say
about the
what I'm
trees?
Be honest
Can we
with you, I like the thought that the trees are gonna be there, just because of the area that it's at and going green environment. So that's just my thought.
Again, the ordinance says it's not required.
Not required.
Right, right.
No,
no,
I'm just
I know,
saying.
I know. I just,
Just a recommendation, I like to see the
Sorry, we
trees.
can't make it do it.
right,
That's correct.
right.
So if we go tar and chip on the shoulders, over top of the modified, we'll be all right.
No, wait a minute, is it over top, is that what is in on the shoulders now modified? Or
Yes.
Oh, it is modified.
Yeah,
Yes.
Inches of
Yeah,
modified.
it's rolled in out there.
You just need to bring the modified stone up to the elevation of the blacktop.
Now, the old plan does show the trees. Everybody signed off on trees. Stoner signed off on trees, so it's really technically is a modification.
Technically, yes.
Technically, it is. Don't want somebody, come back later and say that plan showed it, you didn't put them in.
And that can be addressed when you go back in with the revised plan that shows that you're putting in a type 3 shoulder. Request modification to the type 3 shoulder and this, and the trees. Or they can act on.
Yeah, I just say act on it now, just not just as a condition, I'll change it to a type 3 shoulder.
Joe, if you wanna move that thing along, if the other two supervisors agree, I would be glad to go out there to meet with you and talk to you about it, and bring that information back to here to keep this thing moving, to try to get it done.
Mhm.
I mean, unless you wanna do something on your own or do it, fine, but let's quit the fiddling around and get it done.
Oh, I agree.
What you're asking for is for them to approve it with the condition.
With the condition that I'll change the
That you'll
plan.
make the change.
I'll make the change to a type 3 shoulder. And asking you to approve the trees to be removed,
Okay.
not to be installed.
How soon are you gonna get a plan back to us, Joe?
Well, I can get it back this week.
That's just, okay, so you're gonna get to us what we originally asked for. That's simple. That's exactly what we originally asked.
And technically, you need on what?
The 5th, it's reorganization, or the 29th.
Yes.
So it could be looked at.
Can we consider other business at the
Pardon?
Can we consider other business at the organizational meeting?
We always do.
You always do.
Okay.
You can, yes.
All right.
Okay, so I'll get a revised plan showing the type 3 shoulders, and then we'll rediscuss this at that next meeting.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Can I have my original letter back
Yes.
before it gets lost?
Okay.
No, I don't need it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, the next thing I have on the planning commission is more FYI.
Okay?
We got a letter from DEP for the Curlin connection to the water,
Okay?
I'm sorry, the sewer.
Mhm.
It originally said that it did not qualify an exemption, and Mr. Schaefer has talked to Tim Wagner at DEP and I guess Randy, that he explained that it wasn't a new building completely, it was new as in it would be attached to the sewer line. And he's to send the exemption package back with a narrative. That's the last I heard.
Okay?
And that's all I have for planning.
Okay, zoning report, Helen?
None.
Pardon?
Lenny did not give me a zoning or SEO report. He's in the middle of moving and computers were down.
Storage enforcement officer report.
Same thing.
Same thing, okay. Penn Township Park and Rec Board report.
They did not have a meeting in December.
Okay. Penn Township Municipal Authority.
I don't have anything.
Okay?
I have a question.
Yes. Thank you.
There was a customer who's in violation of ordinance 101, has been, and at our last regular stated meeting, it was moved and agreed upon to impose, according to our rules and regs, to impose the daily fine on that property owner. That was to begin on November 17th. And I believe this matter had been turned over to the police department for the imposition of that daily fine. What's the status on that?
I didn't get anything in my office on it. So I don't,
101 ordinance
Connection
is in
ordinance.
violation of the connection ordinance?
Right.
Okay. And the violation of the connection ordinance, CC, in the past is always laid within the municipal authority for enforcement.
Right, and that's the direction it went, and then the municipal authority was told that that was enforceable by the police department.
Is this Ward CC? It was shipped over to us. However, we've been informed that the attorneys are working a deal, and we're waiting to hear from the municipal authority's attorney.
Really, that's not the information I got today.
Well, believe me, CC, take a look at it.
Oh, no, I know there's deals.
I'm telling you, there's a glitch there on some of the things that's taking place here from one to the other. There's a breakdown in communications, I'll tell you.
I strongly disagree with that.
Okay. What's taking place down there, some of the things that have taken place down there is something that I don't believe, by golly, that we were accused of not sending that 101 ordinance to him. And I had Helen dig it up, and we did notify Mr. Ward that he was to hook on.
Yes.
And I was told that the township never did that, but we went back and we dug up the letter, and he was notified. Okay, so the enforcement goes in there. I would like to know, the enforcement comes back then to the municipal authority like every place else, and the municipal authority to show you that they got the enforcement. If they don't comply or whatnot, they put a lien on their property, or they do what they gotta do to do that. So where does it come where, and who shifted it back to us? Who shifted it back to us, and that we're the enforcement of it, that we go collect this money, or we take the enforcement action?
Do you believe that came from the police department? That they would be the ones to impose that fine?
And who said that?
I believe it initially went to the chief, and then it
Who
went,
said that of the municipal authority?
that came from Karen, from the executive secretary, and
But-
that was even in the minutes.
Okay, well then you tell the individual in that municipal authority, and if it be your attorney, you have him give me a call.
So if there's a daily fine to be imposed, whether it's on this property or another property, who ultimately is responsible for seeing that the collection of that, or the imposition of that fine is made?
That would be the DJ. I mean, we're the only ones that could issue a citation, but any collection would go through the district judge.
The
But there
DJ,
has not even been a citation.
before, go ahead, before they forward them to the DJ,
Okay, now, if there has been no citation, who gave that order that there be no citation?
Well, I got a question. If the municipal authority attorney is talking to Ward's attorney, okay, has anything been put on hold, waiting the outcome of the two of them? Or is, as in the compliance, has there been anything from the municipal, because I haven't heard anything in the tapes referencing to anything about anything being put on hold, or, well, let's wait a minute till we get this worked out, because you said there's a deal being worked out between the attorneys.
This deal has been going on for how many years?
Oh, yeah, I know. No, I agree with your frustration, I understand, but it comes down to the enforcement. Was that November date put on hold because the two attorneys are now talking and they're coming up with an agreement? Which like I said, we've been through every excuse down the pike. I've been there in those meetings, I've been here in the same meetings, prior to
No, you
becoming.
haven't been at those meetings.
Prior to and as supervisor, I've been in the meetings where he's been here and we've discussed those things, So, my question is, so has the board agreed that everything gets put on hold while the attorneys are
No,
talking?
the board did
Okay.
not agree.
Okay.
If that decision was made, that was not made by the board.
Okay, so at this point here, the way it
And
sounds,
that's-
that the municipal authority is responsible for enforcing. So direction needs to be given to the police department to go forward with this, correct?
And that was given.
is that part of the minutes in that meeting?
I don't have them with me, but I'm sure it is.
Yeah?
And if this is the case, why do we bother having any rules to be followed? If
And I
there's no
agree-
enforcement,
And I agree, when they're cutting deals behind the scenes and everything, we don't wanna do anything right now. And that's a little bit what's going on down here. There's so many negotiations about that down there. And you got, and I agree with you on the hookup. This guy needs to be made hookup.
Correct.
And just like the trailer we got down here that they wanna put on, we're taking that full circle here with the township to make sure, by golly, that if we're forced to give him that down there, okay, but at the present time, he doesn't have that, does he,
Nope.
Helen?
He doesn't have that. We sent a letter to Mr. Ward and you guys
That
have
is
copied.
correct.
And so is Mr. Alwal, MDP, that I need something
so
from Ward saying he's
We're
allowed to do
trying to
this.
do our part to
So that
support the
replacement
municipal
Yes.
authority down there, that they get that system online down there. I can't help about the high costs and everything else and all these tapping fees that people don't wanna pay. And many a time, those things get negotiated away. Supervisors here never even know that happens.
Henry,
right.
April 3rd, 2013, you were the one that brought it up at the municipal authority meeting about the January 16th letter that they had 10 days to respond to.
That's right, and that was the what you call it?
The
That was
connection notice, yeah.
That was the connection notice, yes.
And I believe I copied you guys with
That
that.
was in
And
2013.
then I got questioned that we never sent that, and then we just
We came
dug that
in
up
and
the
I
other
dug it
day.
out.
Yes, we did send that, CC, and supported that.
So basically, what it comes down to, Chief, within the next day or two, can you follow up with the municipal authority staff to see where we're at with enforcing this? As we're taking it to the next step and start applying the fines.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
That was the municipal authority. Anything else for that, I guess?
okay.
And
Second, go ahead.
just like, Chief, and if you could do me a favor, if you could just CC all three supervisors and where you're at on that.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Secretary's report.
Okay, cable license fee. This was tabled from last month. I went through and contacted the townships as you requested and got the answers. Rye receives $1,500 yearly, Wheatfield, Marysville, and Duncannon only get franchise fees, and Watson Howe Township receives nothing.
Okay.
So this question still stands. Do we want this fee license to still be in effect? And if so, I need a number. We had it 300 before. And this is, click, this is permissible to do this type of permit fee on top of the franchise.
So this is a cable licensing fee.
Yeah, this is a license, this is outside the franchise.
I think about 2 meetings back, I had you forward information to both supervisors in regards to these fees.
Yeah.
And these fees yet to be established. As
Yeah,
of
there's,
date,
yeah.
I haven't heard anything in regards to any one of them, although I've taken a look at them, and they are yet to be done for the beginning of the year. Okay. And I told you before the end of the year, if there's no report back from the other 2 supervisors, how it's gonna fall on you and I to establish those fees to go in our new
Fee schedule.
fee schedule at the beginning of the year. We've received a $300 permit fee for this, or a licensing fee from them in the past. And the thing of it is now, you're looking for a motion, are you gonna continue with that licensing fee? You're gonna raise the number, lower the number, or what are we going to do with it? I make a motion that we continue with the $300 licensing fee as has been with the past.
Okay.
That's what we've received in the past.
And that's always received.
Always received.
Yeah.
Yes.
That $300 licensing fee, how long has that been established? How long, I mean, has it been like that for 10 years, 12 years?
Hold a second, I'll tell you in a
17
minute.
years?
A little longer than that. Let's see, 2001. So that's be 13. What, yeah, 13.
I personally, looking at from 2003 until now, I believe with the percentage of increase over the years, I would recommend that we raise it to $500. So do we have a second on the motion from Chairman?
I must abstain in this decision because I'm employed by Blue Ridge Communications.
My big concern about all these fees, and I've stated it before and I'll state it again, is that you sit down and you come up with a number, and then it be reviewed with the group or with others to make sure that we're not out of line. We can establish a fee out here. When we come back out and find we're so far out of line, and just establishing or saying something by a percentage or whatnot justifies increasing that fee, to me, is something that I'm not willing to work on. That's why I've asked the other two supervisors to come forward and be part of getting these fees established in the cable. A lot of work to be done for that, for reorganization meeting. A lot of work to be done on that. I told Helen today I will be in here the last day of this month. I'll spend all day with her, give her my opinion, my ideas, and my numbers on there. But they still have to be verified. And who knows whether my number's too low, too high, or whatever. So by putting this off till the end of the year, we've got crunch time to get this done when this should have been taken a look at a long time ago. Now, I'll gladly do it. I'll gladly put some numbers out there. I'll gladly make the calls if there's not going to be anybody else available to come to the meetings to get this done. It's a work session, by golly, that all three of us can take a look and submit ideas so that we can get them out, so we don't have to advertise, so we don't have to have three supervisors together.
True.
You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I know what you're saying, yeah.
If you want to do this or work together, he gives his idea to get here, we throw it collectively and find out from the professionals, are we in line? We called before on the connection fee to see whether we were in line because we had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay? So the $300 fee in the past that everybody thought was our cable franchise was only a licensing fee. And of course, we have one municipality that has 100 and what? 150 or 40 something.
1,500 yearly, 1,500 yearly from Rye, and then the Wakefield,
No,
Marysville.
that's what they're charging.
Yeah,
They're charging
1,500, and that's all they get. They don't have
Now,
anything.
they don't get nothing else, so they're not getting no franchise money besides. This is strictly the licensing fee. They've charged $1,500 when they come through.
That's what Daisy said.
If we want to collect the franchise money and increase it to $500 and it flies, so be it.
Well, but I find it funny, Mr. Chairman, you want to sit here and chastise the other two supervisors.
I'm not chastising nobody.
No, let me speak, please.
Not chastising
No,
nobody.
yeah, you are. You're publicly chastising the other two supervisors. Have you called for a workshop?
Yes, I have.
You called for a workshop. You set a date for a workshop or asked for a workshop?
Did you not put the
Did
letters
you do
out
the
to
same
each
thing
and
on the
everybody?
budget?
Did you not?
Did you do the same thing on the budget? A workshop?
I put the information I had into the boxes.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yes.
did you call for a workshop?
I was not told to call for a workshop.
There you go, thank you.
A
So once it's-
workshop on the budget when everybody for a period of time had all the opportunities when we reviewed them, had our budget meeting, to put any input that they wanted into that budget. I heard nothing from anybody that
But
there
I
was
hear all the
anything
other
to put in
townships
it.
around us doing workshops where everybody is brought in together on workshops, even the public, and that has not been done.
Well, the public was invited.
To workshop?
To the
Not to a
budget.
workshop,
No.
to the public meeting for the
To the
public.
workshops. There was no workshops
And that-
announced to either one of us
That
supervisors.
was a workshop.
It was not announced as a workshop and whatever. So
Okay.
it comes down to a word game, Mr. Chairman.
I'm not-
And I'm not going to sit here and allow Mr. McGuire and myself to be publicly chastised
You're
by you
not.
for something that you're lacking to do.
Did you not,
As a township
did you not
manager.
receive or send a notice out to them for input in regards to these fee schedules?
Input, it's
Yes.
not, okay, I'm giving input right now and you're opposing it.
Okay, no,
Okay, I gave input.
this is,
So whether
this
we
is
give
on
input
another
or not,
matter.
whether we give input or not, sir, you're going to oppose
Not
it.
on this particular one.
Okay, then.
On the other ones, on the fee schedules that are to be established on the ordinance, okay? Did we not put out to him and to him?
What
to
we
offer
needed,
your- That's right,
and-
take a look at them and bring it back
Then
here
you're
to
saying
the
that
meeting.
on December 30th, you're calling a workshop to go over these fees?
No, that information was given out for you to bring back here
Okay, but you
publicly
said
at a
you're- But
meeting.
you're saying you're sitting down on the 30th, or the
23rd.
31st.
23rd.
23rd. Someone, I have to work on that.
Well, you just did the last day of the month.
Yeah,
No, I
no, he
said
meant
the
the,
last day of the work before Christmas.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're telling me on Christmas Eve,
No,
the 23rd,
23rd.
the
Tuesday the
Tuesday the
20th.
23rd,
Mm-hmm.
you want to sit down, you're going to sit down with Helen and go over these fees?
And
I'm
then
gonna
present them to
Okay,
you.
All right,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
let's make that a workshop.
yeah, I can do that. I
Can
can
you
get
get it
that.
advertised?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about, yes.
Yeah.
It will come out, let's see, today's the 17th. No, yeah, I can in the Patriot.
I'm gonna make it clear one more time for the record.
Mm-hmm.
The information was passed to both supervisors for them to take a look at it, bring that information back for it to be discussed on those fees at a public meeting. And each one could do that. And I've taken a look at this, and I decided, since I heard nothing on this one, to say
Helen, do me a
$300.
favor, could you put another copy in our box so that way we're fully prepared for the workshop on the 23rd?
I can do that.
Thank you.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Something has to get done.
Okay,
So I would say at this point here, we'll table this until we have that meeting on the 23rd.
That's
Where
fine.
we discuss all fees.
okay,
Brian, can you make that? You couldn't make the other meeting earlier?
I need a time.
23rd?
Yes.
What time?
We could do it right after our meeting that we have scheduled. So do you want to schedule it for,
Okay.
how long do you think that 5:45 meeting is going to take?
Well, you have the reviews on the employees. You have 4 of them to do.
Okay.
Okay?
So do we want to schedule this for 7 o'clock?
Hey, that's fine with me. Needs to be done.
Okay, 7 o'clock on the 23rd. Workshop on fees.
On fee schedule, okay.
Yes.
You're gonna get it advertised
I can get it into the Patriot, I'll put it in
in the
tomorrow.
Patriot. At
That-
what
That,
cost?
I'm going to keep it as short and sweet as possible, so I'm hoping 50 to 70.
Okay, that's what you're gonna have to put in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll just, basically, we're having a workshop for.
And for all
schedule.
information on the workshop, are we gonna accept those numbers and adopt them, or are we gonna forward them on to the professionals, take a look at them, see whether we're in line?
I believe we have enough intelligence among the three of us to be able to do that.
Okay? You get challenged on it, this is the only thing that I'm gonna say. Don't wanna pass something you can't enforce. Back to the issue on,
One question, Henry.
yes,
Who are the professionals that would tell us whether or not those numbers are, would that be max? Would that be,
no, Lee, the whole way through on this thing, when we had no idea what a connection fee was for this one item out here, Lee. And I had no idea. And if you were to go out here and say $1,500 for something that's a normal 2, and you go to charge the utilities or the connection fee people, something like that, you open yourself up to be challenged that you're so far out of line that's not reasonable, okay? So until this issue is settled, all these fees that the Cohen Group on establishing this said, you need to take a look at what these are. I recommend you take those numbers and forward them back, and they'll tell you quickly whether you're in line or out of line, you know what I'm saying? And it's not gonna rack the township for no money.
they obviously have some type of sliding scale that they've already, can you ask them to forward that?
Well, I'm not sure that I'm not sure that they're gonna make a recommendation of what we want is maybe they'll give you the information after you forward something. I feel that information should be done in that manner, but take a look at it and get those numbers out there.
Can't you collect other municipalities and what they're using and use that as a base to?
We tried to call around, Jody, you got one of them over here for this fee, but then they don't get any percentage of the rest of their cable franchise. They're $1,500 across the board.
And then the others just get their franchise money,
Yeah,
not
and
the, not
So
a,
Rye is only receiving the cable license fee.
They're
They're
not
not
getting the
receiving
franchise, yeah. Some of these
Or you're not
franchise
sure?
fees for these municipalities.
they
are
get
in the
$1,500, period.
Period.
50.
Okay.
That's right.
I do believe that was their agreement with Blue Ridge, or Comcast, whoever they have in there. And then Wheatfield, Marys, and Duncanberg will just get the franchise agreement. They don't have a license fee, cable license fee.
That's right. And that was the question. Are you gonna continue with the license fee, you're gonna do away with the license fee, or are you gonna increase the license fee?
What's the difference between a license fee and a franchise fee? I'm sorry for bringing this on, but I don't know.
How does the ordinance state it? Providing for license to be issued for a fee for said license and providing a penalty for, oh, no, sorry. Ordinance providing for licensing of the cable television companies operating within Penn Township. That's what the ordinance.
I can, go ahead.
Okay.
I'll read this.
Question?
Yeah, on the line of the budget, I believe it's 101.321.25 cable licensing fee.
Is that the one that says something like 30,000?
Yes,
That is for the franchise?
That's for the franchise.
correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that's for the franchise.
And,
That's not the license.
no, we'd have to change, we can
So-
change them.
So we are looking at receiving, it says proposed. Is that going to change? Is that subject to change?
We don't
It
know
depends how many
exactly.
people are on the system, at the time.
Yeah.
It fluctuates.
Okay.
And how many services and what type of services they have.
Basically, until we actually receive
And
the
that
money, we don't know.
percentage on that cable fee, this township could say that's 3%, 4%, we can put that wherever we want.
Correct.
That's correct. At the present time, I think it's what, 3%?
Kept it the same.
Yep, it's kept it the same,
That's
yes.
what it was.
Henry,
That's where it was before.
Bob.
Yes, Bob?
You're talking cable, will this apply to the people that have the satellite dishes and all, does that come under that?
No,
No.
this
Is that
is,
another system, or what's the,
this is just Blue Ridge.
what does that mean, but why? Then with Blue Ridge, they have how many services on there, they charge for each service, or?
We
They're
get a
advertising their,
We get a percentage of each service.
it'll be.
That's why we're saying that 30,000 is proposed, because it depends on how many people are on that service. And is that coming in monthly,
Sorry.
quarterly? I think it's coming in monthly. Monthly, okay,
That's
so
what I'm wondering,
so monthly we'll have an idea
This would be just-
of
it would be allowed.
who got service, who dropped service, and how many we are to that point in time.
That's what I'm wondering, but if we start charging the cable company a fee, and they raise the rates to the public then gonna go to
Okay,
the
well-
satellite issues or whatever?
Well, and I'll do this,
Okay.
because of that, I will go ahead and agree then with Chairman that to get this off the table tonight, since we've tabled it already several times, I agree at this point here, let's keep it at 3%, or keep it at 300, and then we'll just look at it month to month on how it goes with the.
This is a one-time fee,
This is a one-time fee.
one fee for the whole year.
That would give us decide next year, do we want to keep it all together?
Yeah.
Do we want to increase it, or would you keep it where it's at, It will give us a better idea once we
You
start
have the
receiving that
option to
fee.
change that though after a year, Helen.
The cable license?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
we can
we'll
change
be
it
able to
mid-year
change
if we
that.
wanted.
Every year.
Yeah, and that had been
Correct.
installed before though for a long period of time.
Since 2001.
That's
So-
right.
So I will second the chairman's motion to keep the fee at $300.
Okay. Okay,
Okay?
that's fine.
Thank you. Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
I want to abstain.
due to my previously stated reasons.
Okay. Duncannon Borough NPDES. Ellen?
Okay, they're asking for us to do a municipal letter.
Yes,
The normal, do we have a comprehensive plan?
yeah.
And
Is this plant within
to,
township?
this plant is actually in the borough. I don't know why actually we
So
got this,
basically, you
other than
no
we have
zoning that
lines.
applies.
They have lines in our, don't they have lines in our township,
Yeah, but-
CC?
But this is for
Sewer
a
lines?
plant.
I'm sorry,
The borough sewer lines
we
through,
share lines, yes.
okay,
But this is just for the plant renovation.
that's what I understood.
And there's no construction proposed within the
No, this is
township of
just a
Penn.
renewal of their permit.
Renewal of their permit.
I mean, I can
Just
answer
looks like a form
the,
that we fill out, Max, it's no cost to it, just needs filled out and sent in.
I mean, as far as the zoning
Well,
ordinance,
it says that, yeah.
well, I could do the first part
The
easily.
proposed project meets the provisions of your zoning ordinance.
It's-
Since it doesn't apply, sure it does.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying, he's filled out.
It seems like a ridiculous form for you to fill out, but anyway.
Yes, I thought so too, but you got it
Yep.
to fill out.
Okay,
Yeah.
so fill it out and send it in?
Yeah, so on that, I thought it goes without saying. Okay.
Well,
Chapter 7 of Act 44, pension disclosure.
okay, this is this closure that, every year they want us to adopt. It basically tells who's the companies nationwide, who's all the executive directors. They're answering questions that have to be answered by the trustees who manages it. And we just agree to adopt this or not. And when we do, we put it on the webpage because we have a webpage.
I move the adoption of the Pennsylvania Municipalities Pension Trust Act 44 disclosure form.
I'll second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
Okay, the next thing I have is for Mr. Linker's project down on 1115. I received, they're submitting a, what is all this here? E&S plans and stormwater plans. They're putting it up to Perry County Conservation District, and they're asking the township to review the submission to determine if it's consistent with all requirements for stormwater. My question is, can I give it to Max to do that? You need the letter, cover letter to see? It should be in there.
This one?
Yeah.
I looked at that letter before, Helen. I'll make a motion that that information be forwarded to Max for review.
Okay.
Okay?
I second the motion.
Motion made with a second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered.
You get to take the box home.
You can't carry the box.
Okay, the next thing I have is more of a question. The treasurer's bond is now due, and mine will be due soon. Right now, it's covering $250,000. The theory is it should cover the amount that we actually can deal with. I'm asking if we should increase this to 7,500,000 coverage for the bonds.
7,500,000?
Well, I'm sorry.
750.
Thank you. Yeah, 750,000 or 500,000, or should we do it? And if yes, what amount should we? Because it's been like this. since-
Increased cost, Helen.
I'm not sure yet. I'd have to check.
Take a look at that for reorganization.
Okay.
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 I'll make a motion that she do that. Do I hear a second and an okay to that?
I second.
Okay, second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye. Ayes have it, so ordered.
Okay, the next thing is more FYI. On November 24th, PennDOT came in and reviewed our liquid fuels records for 2013. At the time, I received a verbal that everything was fine and they loved our filing system.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I have not received the handwritten like I should have. When I called Mr. Carmel, he stated that his boss has to review it and approve it, but she's been sick for a couple weeks. So it's probably at the end of the year I'll receive something. That's all I have,
Okay.
thankfully.
Mr.
Engineer, go ahead.
Excuse me, before you move on to the engineer's report, I do have two emails, both dated today. The first one comes from the chairman of the municipal authority to all of the members of the municipal authority, plus the municipal authority secretary, stating that the chairman would be out of town for 2 days, asking the executive secretary if the paperwork has been done for the penalty on the Jacobin property. I have not heard anything from DEP about this lately. The response was, today, at 10:14 this morning, the executive secretary for the municipal authority replied, "The police have it. I asked Cliff if it was done yet, and he said no, but it would be done before the next meeting." No mention of any deals, just it was going to be taken care of. Those were both dated today. 7:16 a.m. and the reply was 10:14 a.m. today. Thank you. I'm totally losing my mind.
Okay. Engineers report.
The only thing I have is wish you a Merry Christmas. I have nothing else.
Okay, thank you, Max. On the reverse side, police report.
You have a copy of the activity report. We completed our aggressive driving grant, and our buckle up grant will be discontinued next year due to the lack of accidents that we have in our jurisdiction, so we won't be included next year on that grant activity. We did some, I did an interview on a Josh Goodwin. I'd like to ask if he'd be approved to be hired as a part-time.
Okay. I received a call from a gentleman who done the investigation on it. He gave a good report, a good review on that. And that being said, on the background check and that, I'll make a motion that you be given the authorization to hire that individual. Motion made, do I hear a second?
Question, do the other two supervisors have access to that background and investigation? Because I've not seen anything. Have you, Brian?
I haven't seen it, no.
No.
That comes directly from Solicitor Wagner, who does a background check to me with a phone call this morning.
Is that both background checks?
Pardon?
Is that both background checks? Because in the previous meeting, my understanding was one was done by the police department, one was done by by our solicitor.
Okay. The one done by the solicitor was contacted me this morning and gave me that information that was, that he found nothing that was out there.
And we forwarded all the information to him that we've collected too.
Okay, before I make any vote on it, I'd like to be able to see that information prior to, just to make sure.
I'll second the motion.
Seconding Henry's to hire?
Correct.
Okay. I just got confused there for a minute.
Okay. Motion made with a second discussion. As in the past, and all of these where they vote on them, and you've been part of some of them in the past year too, the background check was done by Solicitor Wagner and by this police department out here. Some of that personal information, I'm not sure exactly where you're at. You want a report from Solicitor Wagner on it. I've never received one in any regard to it. It was information that was forwarded back to this office. A lot of those background checks are confidential calls that I believe are made throughout the system to find out what have to be made. If that information is available, Brian, I will make a request that you get it. If it's not, it's not.
Well, I can tell you it is available because we are the employer. So therefore, it is made available to us because I do these on a regular basis for my employment also. And it does fall underneath HIPAA, underneath Privacy Act, but we are the employer, we are the supervisors. So therefore, we are privileged to that information under the law.
Okay? I will make the motion's been made with a second to hire that individual, and I will add to it, subject to the request be made into Solicitor Wagner for a report on that background check. Okay? On my part, on our behalf of the township. And the police department would have that other background check if you wish to give it, or whether you
Everything's,
can.
it's information that goes to the solicitor.
Yeah, goes to the solicitor, okay?
Yeah, as far as histories and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah. I think that we had, on the interview, complete background check or completely his history of anything that he may have presented for us during the interview.
His driving record.
Driving record, and if there had been any criminal record, it would showed also.
On his driving record?
Pardon?
On his driving record?
If there would have been
No,
any
if there had been a criminal record,
you would have seen
it would have been there also.
Okay,
Question.
yes.
They're gonna make the request to Rich, or am I, or you? I just wanna know.
Any comments on this, gentleman?
We made inquiries to past employers. We've talked to the past department he worked for. We got nothing negative on this young man. Mr. Wagner has found nothing negative on this young man. I'm sure that Mr. Wagner will put that in writing for you gentlemen.
That's what I figured too also.
The only thing I would add is we are in a position where we need the body. So if there's some way to have this pending the letter from Mr. Wagner, that we can continue
Yeah,
Exactly
getting
my
this
motion.
young man trained and ready?
Now, I think you'll find out with my motion with a second, that information follow up. If you guys say the report was good and he forwarded that information to me this morning at about 8 o'clock, I'm gonna take Solicitor Wagner's one. If there's nothing out there, you'll get the
Oh,
same.
and I'm not saying that I don't trust Solicitor Wagner, I'm just
You'll get
saying,
the same report back from him that'll say he found nothing.
I would like to see the actual background reports, not a letter from the solicitor saying everything looks fine. I would like to see, requesting to see the full and complete background checks from both departments, or from both offices. As employers, we have the right to see that.
I'm calling for the vote on the question.
Okay, motion made with a second, subject to those conditions. Calling for the vote. Motion been made, second, all those in favor
Can you
give their
read back
consent.
the motion, please?
That you would hire him subject to the request for the reports from the solicitor.
They
The
be
full
submitted-
background,
They be submitted to this township.
yes.
And not just a letter stating the solicitor approves full and complete background reports.
So request for the reports from the solicitor,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
Okay. Motion made with a second, all those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
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 Ayes have it, so ordered.
You guys gonna contact him? Okay.
We're also upgrading our computer system. Our service has expired on the computers and they need upgrades also. The upgrades would also increase the abilities of our in-car computer systems for the officers to access more information and be able to do more in the vehicles rather than coming back to the base and doing that stuff. And we've gotten a hold of a local computer company that does these type of installs and upgrades.
Okay. Nothing else, the police department solicitor's report?
Were you asking for this for approval?
Sure. Yeah.
For, I'm just asking.
We have 3 invoices from the computer
Okay.
company.
Sorry, chief, jumped the gun, thought you were done.
We have 3 invoices from that computer company for, to upgrade our system, to keep it in line with current technology.
I need to be clear, you're asking for this to be paid before the end of the year?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's these 3 invoices.
Yes, it's the ones you faxed me.
As I feel it's important for our police department to be best equipped with current technologies to help you do your job better and calculations and reports. I make the motion that we accept all 3 invoices to the Third Element Consulting and Corp. And I guess invoice number 1002236. Second invoice, in the amount of $5,250. Second invoice number 1002238 in the amount of $14,869.90. And the third invoice for 1002237 in the amount of $1,750.
Okay.
Second the motion.
Second motion made with second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Pay the bills.
Thank you.
Okay, solicitor's report. Tashik update, Al?
I faxed him the information after the last meeting. He says he can't find it, so I'm faxing him the stuff again. But he's gonna put the lien on it.
Okay. Okay, permit report?
You have it in front of you.
Okay.
Nothing unusual about it.
Okay. Correspondence, Helen, piece up?
Okay, this is not for action tonight, this is to look at for
Information, yes.
the reorganizational meeting. The second item is from Marysville Borough, asking if anyone wanted to go to the meeting to discuss their ambulance service. December 22nd. That's Monday night at 5. This says, they're proposing to put a non-binding referendum on the ballot for an emergency service tax and to use that money to support or to bring back the ambulance service in Marysville.
I will, and this is Monday?
Monday, the 22nd. 5 p.m.
I won't be able to attend. I have a conference all day that day.
I will attend, Helen.
Okay,
See, we got a representative, okay?
okay, I'll let them know.
Okay. Ron, you wanna go?
No, thank you.
And the last thing is from New Bloomfield Public Library. They're asking for donations.
Okay. Ask the board to take a look at that. Donations and whatnot usually go out at the reorganization meeting.
Yes, and I do believe we have, if I'm remembering right, I think it's 200 in our non-governmental donations in the budget. That's all under correspondence.
Full business?
Breakthrough Duncannon. I don't think there's anyone here for that.
Nope.
This, no, there's no paperwork. I was asked to check with our insurance company if we're covered. We are, but they recommend that they also have insurance. And this has been told to them. So,
What is it?
it's a youth group to meet down in the rec room.
Oh.
We're downstairs. Down
Yeah.
here, yeah. Map change request has been taken care of.
Yep,
Brings you into an order of new business, budget,
it's there.
okay? Budget before the Board of Supervisors for adoption for year of 2015. It's been duly advertised. Proper meetings have been held and before the board for adoption.
Yeah.
Is the copy that was out on the table the final version?
Yes.
Could I ask a question? Foreign fire tax,
Yep.
your revenue on the front page was 17,000 and your expenditure is 18,000. So is there a reason why that number's different?
Let me see.
What number is that, Jody?
That's,
The revenue is 0135507.
let me see if there's,
Expenditure is 0141150.
4, note 2. The 2014 budget should have been 18. Okay, how much did we actually receive this year? That may have been it. Okay. We received 19. I don't know why there's a difference of 1,000 on the difference too. It should have been 17,000.
Does that auto-calculate your total?
That will, well, it depends which one they want to keep in, 17 or 18. We got 19,000 and a little bit more this year. Foreign fire. Yeah, we got 19,733. Probably hit the wrong key. That's what I probably did.
You got a typo on it?
I got a typo on it. It would change, depending on which one you want to keep, it would change the bottom number by 1,000.
Well, that's what I'm asking. If it's auto-calculating now, then it's,
Well, no, but when I put in the number under that line item, I'm keying it in. It auto-calculates the bottom total.
right, but right now your bottom totals match. So if you change one or the other by 1,000, you're gonna change your bottom total on one or the other. So that means there's another mistake in there somewhere.
There would be, yeah, depending on which one. It would be either, if we keep the 17,000, the expenditures will go down
By
to,
1,000.
by 1,000.
Which means you're $1,000 off in another category. If your spreadsheet auto-calculates, you're $1,000 off somewhere else if you change it, because right now you're showing as balanced.
Yes, I see what you, yeah, I see what you mean.
But the way she's showing it balanced is by 392.01 by your transfer. So what she's doing is she's taking her expenses, bringing it over, your revenue, and then taking the difference and transferring that in
From the savings.
From the general fund savings. So she's got to change that number.
That number
to
would
balance
go up 1,000 or down.
But your expenditures wouldn't change if it's still.
It's just 18,000.
How much is that transfer?
Transfer is $217,542.
Yeah.
From general fund?
Yes,
Are we correct or do we have a mistake?
we have a mistake. I just need one or the other, and we can still adopt it with this correction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just need to know which number you want.
Okay. That's one item addressed, okay. Anything else, sir?
Not that I
Which number
can.
are you going with?
Well, they have to decide that first.
That's what I
What's that?
asked.
Yeah, what, you want 17,000 or 18,000 in this category for next year? Do you want to go with the expenditure category of 18,000 or the income category of 17,000? We just have to have the two numbers equal.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get.
No.
That's, okay.
Yeah, so I just need to know which number to change.
Okay. Well, this is the wish of the board.
Revenue or expenditures, that's all I need to know. We got 19,733 in this year. We got 20,000 in 13 and 17 and 12, and 11 was 31,000, but that was a fluke, they said. We wouldn't get that much again.
I move we raise it to 18,000.
And the revenue,
Correct.
okay,
Okay.
I can do that.
Motion's been made. Do I hear a second to that?
I second.
Okay, motion made with a second.
Okay.
All those in favor give their consent by saying aye, that correction be made and raised to 18,000.
Okay, which will
Ayes
put
have
it, okay,
Okay?
which would put it as revenue of 7, I need one of those. I gave everyone else my, let me see your budget for a second. Which would do revenue total of $7,033,670 which would also bring down to 216,000 for the equals of the balanced budget on the revenue, to make it match, to make it a balanced budget.
Okay, that change being made. Now do I hear a motion to approve the budget subject to that change?
I make that motion.
Motion's been made to approve the budget subject to that change. Motion been made. Do I hear a second?
I second that
Okay,
motion.
motion has been made and second. All those in favor give their consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, so ordered. Okay, that concludes new business. We're ready for adjournment.
I have one question.
Yes, Cece.
Sorry. Last month at the meeting, I had brought up about 2 properties within the township that are inhabited without utilities. And the one is actually, the house is not being lived in, but they are living in a travel trailer in the backyard, which I found out since then. I followed up that inquiry the very next day with a memo to the township office, as well as a copy to the police department, and I was wondering if there was any results of that.
Yeah, the property down on State Road, he's not supposed to be living in there, if he is living in there.
He is definitely.
Yeah, it's, apparently he's a hoarder, and when he was kicked out and the utilities were disconnected, he's rented to store his property with him, that's all. It's just storing property there, not him.
He's definitely living there.
Okay, then,
That came firsthand information, I asked him myself.
well then, yeah.
Because his landlord is allowing him to live there, still collecting rent, but not providing any heat, light, nothing, water.
Yeah, it's not a full rent, I think he pays like, what, $60 a month or something, he stores stuff there. He says he's living on 11 and 15.
He must walk between there and down here because his van's parked there.
Well,
Seems-
he's not supposed to be, like I said, he's not supposed to be living in there. There's no sewer or water in there. And I think the roof's pretty bad too on that.
Yeah. So what is done about that?
Guess we'll notify the landlord. We don't have any ordinance for occupancy or.
We don't have a maintenance ordinance.
No maintenance ordinance,
I guess we would have to, I hate to say this, if you wanted to consider declaring the buildings unsuitable, we'd have to send our inspector in. I know.
You had to start with that.
Send him in?
Wish the
Because
board.
did this go through Lenny before and Lenny turned it over? I mean, it's
Yes, it
kind
went
of
to-
getting bounced around.
Yeah, it went to Lenny originally because they said to send it to the zoning officer, or he did. Lenny sent it back saying, no, this is the police. Police took it from there. So,
But we need to send Lenny with that specific,
Lenny says it's not a zoning issue.
It's not a zoning.
It's building inspector.
Building, you're gonna have to get the UCC code man in there that we have out there to take a look at to say it's not livable or habitable. That's
But I
where
think
you're
you're
gonna
wasting your money. I mean,
Pardon?
according to the landlord, that he's not supposed to be living there. So the landlord needs to post it or secure it and make sure
Enforce that he's not
ensure,
living
yeah,
there.
and make sure that he isn't staying in there.
And how about the other one right here, down here?
That's
Yeah,
been an
down
ongoing
here,
problem.
that's
I
been
know.
an ongoing problem for,
They've been cited.
they've been cited and cited and cited.
Under the nuisance ordinance, but that doesn't cover not living there without electricity and.
Don't we have an ordinance in place about living in a travel trailer for more than 14 days?
And that's what
And
they
they've been
were,
cited.
Yeah.
that's the nuisance ordinance and that's what they're doing.
Is this the property where the mother died about a year ago?
And county was gonna do a sheriff's sale, but
Right.
they're trying to find who's something about the legal ownership of it.
Well, that was tied up because of, in an estate.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. It was Barbara's estate and then,
And we've taken people out of there before too. I've been in that place.
I don't see much resolution to that first situation though, because that's the same property owner that is not complying with any other
Yeah.
ordinances or fines or anything else we have, so why is he gonna comply with this?
We don't have an ordinance against it. So
Isn't it inhumane now? I mean,
if they had kids there or an animal, there's a lot more we could do.
You can do more for them than you can for a person.
And a kid, yeah, and a
Well,
kid.
and if that was true, then half the state of Kentucky would be thrown out of their homes.
this is just plain being a slumlord, that's
correct.
exactly what he
Well,
is.
exactly, oh, I agree with you. You know,
It's ridiculous.
So West Virginia.
That's what I thought.
Put that back on.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
I wonder if they have names.
So,
Quick question.
Quick question, Lee, make it quick.
Wasn't there an injunction put against the junkyard down here?
yes, I'm, with, the fencing thing. I don't remember what Rich said about that. It's up at courthouse.
It's in the courthouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. My question is, why it isn't moving? A lot of stuff sitting up there that don't move, just lays there. It's not the only one that I'm aware of, just lays there.
For years.
So do we want to get, our inspector to, I'm asking.
Is that the next step, Cliff, on it?
Yes.
Get the inspector to take a look at the building and it's not habitable?
But it's not.
Pardon?
I mean, why you wanna waste your money on something like that? I mean, it's
Okay.
not. So then what? You know,
Okay.
we're not gonna collect any money off them. I mean, we can't cite them or anything, even, okay, it's
Okay, so
uninhabitable.
you're saying you're going after the landlord?
Well, no, well, you inform the landlord that we have information that this guy's living in there. So make sure that, he isn't in there. You know, I mean, that's.
And what if the landlord says, well, what the heck, you know, I'm not gonna do anything, where do we go then? Huh?
Right. Right, we have no ordinance to enforce them to not rent it, you know.
To not rent it?
Yeah.
Even though it's not an inhabitable or not a dwelling that would be,
We'd have to get it deemed to be unsafe.
that's correct, that's what
Which
I'm
is-
getting at.
Once we got it deemed to be unsafe, then we can get the courts to force an eviction.
And that's a long drawn out process, which takes, what, we went through that for a year and a half before in order to get something done.
Take
And
time
expensive.
and money.
Time and money, that's
Would that
exactly.
be like gas for less?
Yeah.
As Mr. Pickles even stopped and told us, that place is,
Oh, the,
pretty sad, the old
traffic.
Oh, that's,
Yeah,
we did talk about that. We are having the building guy go look at that building,
Okay,
as well as the old
Dino's.
Dino's.
That's also imploding upon itself.
Okay.
Well,
Have you
because-
contacted Mr. Hollenbaugh? Okay.
well, because they are blighted properties.
Just filed for bankruptcy, so.
They're blighted properties that are making our township look trashy, and we need to start cleaning it up.
Yeah.
did they close that back door? That back door was wide open.
I think the back door is closed, the front's open.
Which one? Which part?
Sicko.
Gas for less.
Sicko.
Yeah, there's a tire holding the back door closed.
Very heavy tire.
It's very
When we cleaned up down there in the lot next door to plant the gardens, we found needles in there.
I wouldn't doubt
In
it.
the gardens, and where you plant.
Are they growing?
Where we planted. No, we're not growing anything.
I know.
Being no further business, I make a motion, we adjourn.
I second the motion.
Okay, motion made with a second, all those in favor, give their consent by saying aye. Ayes have it, so.
Lee, I was in there